Hello everyone, welcome back to the Hivemind Recap Podcast. March 2024 is done, and you know what that means, boys? It means we've completed 4 full years of this thing.
Oh,
I'm
really?
I feel like
I feel fucking old.
How have we done that? How have we done this for 4 years? What the hell?
Tenacity, that's one of the words.
Pure stubbornness.
Pure stubbornness and
The stubbornness after fucking last year.
Oh, man.
pure stubbornness and having a good time with the boys. Anyways, there was a lot of good stuff to talk about in March. After January and February being pretty quiet in terms of albums, there's a lot of EPs and albums to talk about this month, a bunch of singles like usual. A lot of variety in the songs this month as well, so I feel like there's something for everyone in this playlist. So, yeah, how you guys been?
Oh, you know.
Tired.
That's how
Yes.
I feel, man.
Can we put a national ban on all pollen? I know
Yo.
it's good for the
Oh,
world
is
and
that what you
all,
guys are
but
having?
fuck, I have to wash my car like every 2 days.
Do you have
Interesting.
allergies for like bad too, Justin, or no?
I don't, thankfully. Otherwise, I would die.
I am on so much Nasacort right now. It's actually unreal because I live in a part of Virginia that's considered the pollen bowl because it's just like a dip in the middle. It is
fucking
right.
man.
Actually, no, I lied. We used to be top 3 worst places in the U.S. to be if you have pollen allergies. We're now number 4. So we've made.
I
some
thought you were about to say
improvement.
now it's number 1.
That's some progress.
Dude, if it got to number 1, I don't think I'd be here right now. You'd just hear sniffles from the background as you're dying in bed.
Implying Discord would pick up your sniffles.
Yeah, well, hey, true.
Once again, I don't think any of us have gone to any shows yet this year, but
I think I'm slated for one
I
shoe
have one
this
in
month.
April.
okay.
I have 1 or 2
Alright.
this month. I haven't decided which ones I'm going to yet.
Hivemind
I
concert
think-
review TM returns next recap.
I think Asking Alexandria is this month
Because
because they have 2 shows in Virginia, which is a rare fucking occurrence for all Virginians. But they have one in Norfolk, I think, on the 25th that I'm going to, and there's another show on the 23rd. I can't, but that's in Richmond, so I don't know if I can make that one.
When's Imminence for you? Is that May?
It's next month on the 15th, and I've already got work off that day.
No.
I still need to get tickets to that.
I bought mine like the week of.
You
Like
can
the week-
decide after the
I know.
album, right?
That is true.
Yeah, the album comes out this week, so
But the
as long
people
as
won't
tickets
know
don't-
that.
As long as tickets don't sell out.
No.
You can wait.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways,
Album
I
is-
think we should probably get into talking about the music because there's a lot to talk about. Definitely more than the past 2 months. So, if you want to keep up with us, be sure to follow on social media at HiveMindRadio _ on Instagram and Twitter. Check out our playlist for everything that we discussed in this episode, linked in the description, or you can check it out on Spotify, the Hivemind March 2024 recap at Hivemind Recap Podcast.
We have a
Subscribe to us on
TikTok.
YouTube as well. We have a TikTok as well. And we also
I
live
may have
stream.
forgotten to update that.
But we have it. And you can also hang out in the live stream chat with us when we do these episodes live. With all that being said, let's get started with the first song of the month. We have Anchor, who have come back with their first song of the year, Venom. I know I'm like the big Anchor fan here, but Derek and Jacob, I'm wondering if I got either of you with how heavy and angry this song is.
I don't like this song.
Damn.
Yeah, it wasn't really doing much for me either. What I do appreciate is the variance in the style on this one, especially like the
Mhm.
switch up in that last like
Yeah.
minute or so. I think the heavy, it's not even that it's too heavy, it's that I wish there was maybe a little bit more variation in the delivery.
Mhm.
It was all kind of like, it's fine as I'm listening to it. I have yet to hear a bad Anchor song, but this wasn't doing it for me in the same way that some other songs have. So I wasn't a huge
Yeah, that's
fan.
fair. This is a song that blew me away on first listen, but after like the weekend it came out, I didn't go back to it too much. I think it was really just the shock factor that had me hooked initially. because all of Anchor's other songs they've been heavy at times. Like Prisoner is pretty damn heavy, but the way this song just leads with such an intense riff, and the breakdown in this song as well is just crazy. And I really think the shock factor had me thinking, like, holy shit, this is maybe one of the best songs I've heard all year. And then I listened to it a couple of times, and then, I don't know, I was kind of over it. Either way, still very excited.
It's a gimmicky song.
In a way, yeah. Yeah, I can see it. The thing, I want to go back to you talking about the switch up, though, because I think that's going to make it feel a lot more impactful in the album. This feels like almost a bridge of the album type of song, if that makes any sense. Because supposedly there is an album coming. This is chapter 5, they're calling it, I believe. Could be wrong. I think it's chapter 5. So all these chapters are leading into something. I'm assuming it's an album. I don't know what else it could be, really. Highly doubt it's an EP if there's already 5 chapters at this point. But yeah, I'm very excited for what Anchor have cooking. Happy to hear more from them. Justin, one of your favorite bands has returned.
Finally. I'm waiting on the big one, but this one will keep me hungry. We got Traceless finally back after about a year or so hiatus with their new song, Wrong With Me.
I need a place for my head, 'cause the inside is rotting. I'm already dead and driving Mary McCaffin. Awake in my bed, always turning and tossing.
This is a fucking bop.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, are Traceless back for you in the
I
same way
enjoyed
they were
this.
before?
I think the EP, I think this would be middle of the road for the EP for
I
me.
agree.
This is a good start for the new stuff that they've got coming. It's something familiar. I think the next stuff that comes out, if it's like in the similar vein, I'm still gonna enjoy it. I would like to see them experiment a bit more, like they did with War when that was when that EP dropped. But it's still really good. The chorus is catchy. Derek going nuts with the what the fuck is wrong with me,
You're
as if
welcome.
that isn't a freaking for real lyric. I think it's just a 2-piece now with I think they get help on drums, but they still do a phenomenal job. And there's more new stuff this year. I don't know if we're getting the album this year. I would not be surprised if we did. But I'm tempering my expectations. This band is still as consistent as ever. It feels like they haven't left.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. Not something I had on repeat a ton throughout the month, but it's another solid Traceless song and basically a flawless discography so far.
I think my favorite from them is still Level Eye.
Yeah.
It's that and Ghost. But like there are no bad songs. Like they're on par with when we started talking about Loveless. Like Loveless had a near flawless discog and still do, honestly, to this point. But that's about all I got. I'm excited for more. There just isn't much more to talk about on this one because it's familiar Traceless, and I think this is going to be a good song to really get back into.
If you haven't listened to Traceless before, this is a fantastic jumping on point.
First of all, what's wrong with you?
No, we're non-judgmental here.
We'll see.
That was a total lie.
Yeah. Honestly, maybe there are times where we could be less judgmental.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck it.
Never.
No, we will never lie. We're in the market to please nobody. Speaking of, Winona Fighter are back with their newest single, I'm in the Market to Please No One.
I don't think I haven't let it go, no. I just hide things underneath the floorboards and ignore.
Should I have
Swing
yelled
gonna
that
hit.
since it's all caps? Should I have screwed that one out?
I don't know
I-
if you have the energy to, so I'm glad
I'm
you
in
did.
the
No,
market.
God, no.
That's what it says for me on my playlist. I'm in the market.
Oh, I'm in the market.
What are you selling?
You know what I just thought of? I don't know if you've seen the "Threw It on the Ground" music video, but it's like,
Oh god, yeah. Wow, I haven't thought about that in years.
yeah,
Holy
At
shit.
at the market with my so-called girlfriend. Okay, hold on. Let's not get
That's
into
like, you
that.
just unlocked something in my brain. Like, wait, can we? I don't care who does it. Some metalcore band needs to make like a mosh call out of "and I threw it on the ground."
Dude,
like that
no,
would-
metal covers of Lonely Island.
So I rarely ever go on Instagram anymore because it's just so boring. But I follow the Rise Records account, and this is a new signing to Rise Records. They released a debut EP May of, I guess, 2022. So they've only been around for like 2 years now. And I really, really enjoy this energy and the way that they incorporate like a little bit of punk into their general rock sound. I haven't actually gone back to listen to any of their other music, surprisingly. I definitely need to see if their older stuff is more rock focused, more punk focused, whatever it is. But this is great. I'm always for music that's more or less like one big middle finger to a person or like a wide group of people or whatever, like just that I don't give a fuck energy.
Yeah.
And this has it in spades.
Yes. This has all of the fuck you energy you could ever want out of a punk song, kind of. Like, the moment you sent me this song, I'm like, oh. I sent this straight to my sister, and I was like, you're gonna enjoy this one.
I remember we got a
it's-
very positive text in return.
Yes, I did. I very much got a very positive response, and then, like, a week later, when she came home from college for the weekend, it was, like, the first thing she told me, like, I've been listening to this song, Jake.
Let's go.
So, like,
May
this
not
song
have
made
gotten
an
you
impact.
on it, but I got your sister. It's all
Well, no,
good.
I added to my playlist. It's fun. I think there's a lot of fun vocal deliveries to it that feel very pop punky. Like with the whole Jesus Christ, if one more person tells me he looked nice, like just the vocal delivery on that. There's a couple other moments in this song too that have really fun, like staggered vocal deliveries, I guess is the best way to call it. Where it's not like a very, like, it's not like the up and down rhythm of a typical melody almost. Really cool, I think. This isn't like my favorite style of music, but it's something that I'll throw on the playlist if it comes on. Like, it's fun, it's enjoyable. I'll listen to it a couple times. Not gonna have it on repeat, but like, I enjoyed it.
I am hoping that signing to Rise Records means that there is some sort of project that has to come out, like, attached to this. Like, this would be a lead single for an upcoming album on a record label. I don't know, but if I get like a full length or a couple more songs of this quality with how much I enjoyed this is like definitely already a potential contender for favorite artists discovered this year. So fingers crossed that it's attached to something. We'll see. Either way, Winona Fighter carrying on. I guess the closest thing I could label this to would probably be like Jetty Bones, which I guess is also a Rise Records band, so it checks out. But no, just fantastic stuff. Excited to see where the band goes next.
That brings us back to Justin.
We
one
got
of your
Soft
post-hardcore
Spoken.
favorites.
Yeah, Soft Spoken are back, now signed to FLOYA Records with their new single, Oblivion.
All I see is blank space. Forgotten love seems they've all just lost my name. Bury me beside the truth. I suppose that
These guys keep
I
getting
have had-
better and better, Justin.
They do, and I'm so excited. I'm so happy for them.
I feel like this is the first soft-spoken breakdown that has actually stuck the
That's-
landing for me.
Yeah, it's fucking destroyed.
It's a really good breakdown from a band that historically I have not liked when they get heavier.
I was not expecting the gutturals in the breakdown in a soft-spoken song, but here we are today. I've had this song since December, before they signed, and then they delayed the release so that signing deal could finalize as far as I know, there weren't any changes to the song itself, and the song's actually been done for like a year. So they've just been kind of sitting on it.
It's the life of the music industry. Sometimes you have to just like wait for the perfect time to release something.
Yeah, and these guys just kill it. I mean, ever since the Where the Heart Belongs EP dropped, like each of their latest songs that they've dropped has just been really, really good. I think my favorite is still Alone of their recent releases. But you know, I'm drawing straws at that point because all of them are really good. I think they're touring. Are they touring near me? No.
All I can say is I got a stank face for the breakdown.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't expecting. I thought it would cut off kind of after the first part of the breakdown. It just kept going, and I was like, oh shit!
Yeah,
I'm smoking her on one today.
Yeah, and then that final chorus into it, it's just back for more. It's really good. Derek.
Nevertel are back with their newest single, Sacrifice.
Having now been signed to Epitaph Records.
Backed into a corner, anger rushing through my veins. In between the stress of shit I go.
Low key,
Banger.
this is like Epitaph might be like the record label to beat right now. I'm thinking about everybody on Epitaph, and I'm like,
Yeah, following in reverse.
Well,
Architects?
oh god, never mind.
Escape the fate?
Friendship
Wait, are
with Epitaph over Rise Records is my new best friend.
I mean, last year fucking Sharp Toad signed off at like a bunch of really good smaller bands.
That's true, actually. Sharp Tone's very consistently good. Man, when
No, but
hear
I get what you're saying about This feels like the perfect label for Nevertel.
Yeah,
Because they have that
exactly.
like very hybrid genre blending sound that I feel like a lot of bands on Epitaph have.
It's like because Epitaph is Too Close to Touch and Epitaph is Gucci High Waters. So if you put somewhere in the spectrum in the middle, I feel like you kind of get Nevertel, so it makes sense in my head. Guys, this is really fucking good. This is like a top 3 Nevertel song. if I'm
They
being
just
so
don't
real.
miss.
Okay, Architects is not signed to them anymore. I was wrong. They were at one point. That's why I said
Big
that.
W.
They still are. I see them on the artist page.
Oh,
Really?
I'm just blind then.
Yeah, they're
Well, actually,
at
wait,
the
they
top.
just put out a single, right? Let's go find out. I just looked up Epitaph. What's wrong with me?
This is a
You
side
trying to look
tangent
up
and
the
a
new Make
half.
Them Suffer song? Or?
No,
Yo,
Curse.
let's
Curse
talk
is on
about-
it. Yeah, Epitaph.
Let's
Yeah.
talk about Nevertel.
Nevertel.
The boys.
The boys.
This slap. I said this and nobody agreed with me. I think this reminds me of Manic by Wage War.
I see it.
Even like the circling the drain line got me into it as well. Also, the album artwork is like similar color. I don't know.
It is very much.
I'm not
same
too
vibe.
familiar. I'm not too familiar with that
Yeah,
album,
I
unfortunately.
have listened to Manic as a song at least 200 times. Top
I'm
10
talking
song
about
of
the album.
2021,
Sorry,
by the way.
I'm talking about the album.
Okay.
This is more in line with for those that listen to Nevertel's debut album. It's more akin to a Life Like This, in where it's got Raul with the predominant rapping vocals, with Jeremy just doing the chorus and the breakdown. And I think like these two are, like, to put it bluntly, because I'm sure they get the comparison a lot. They're modern day Linkin Park with
Absolutely.
how consistent their dynamic is.
I'm ready to enter the conversation that Jeremy is like a top 10 clean vocalist in the scene.
I'll give them top 5.
Like dude, he's just so consistent in the way that he can put just a little bit of like grit and effort into his. It reminds me a lot of Chester Bennington. Like this, if there was a band I feel like right now that was doing anything close to what Linkin Park had at their peak, I think Nevertel is a perfect example of that. And I think that more so than being like, oh, it's a Linkin Park break-off, it's a testament to how good this band is that you can even pull the Linkin Park comparison. Like this, you said it best. I can't miss. They just do not miss. I feel like they are incapable of missing and haven't missed in years.
If we're looking at an album with everything that's dropped since Modified, like this album is gonna kick ass.
Something tells me
absolutely.
that the singles from last year in Modified, Feed the Machine, and Far Away are just going to be standalone singles. And now that they're on Epitaph, I think it's like something new.
Well, you know, I feel like when the worst case scenario is we get like their great singles from last year on the album, and the best case is we get like 10 more new Nevertel tracks. I feel like we can't really lose.
We can't really, you know, be upset. It might be like Archetypes, where they just do whatever. They drop 2 singles that aren't even on the album, and then just drop the album.
Yo, speaking of Jeremy being a top 10 vocalist of all time, let me tell you about this next song that we're talking about. The Devil Wears Prada have released their newest single, Ritual.
You lead me on and on like repetition. Fill my head with bad decisions. What if everything we want is...
Man, this guy really had the transition from Sacrifice into Ritual, and then just went, "Oh, I'm gonna go top 10 vocalist."
You know what? If we're ranking things, I think that's a top 5 transition that somebody has ever successfully done.
You know?
Was it because like the chances of that happening?
Yeah.
Like
Jeremy, his Queen vocals in Sacrifice, banger. Jeremy and the Devil Wears Prada, his Queen vocals in Ritual, also pretty fucking banger. I'm at a point where this might...
Wait, I thought you were talking about the Devil Wears Prada song named Sacrifice. I didn't think about
This is getting too confusing.
I forgot. There was a song called Sacrifice on Color Decay, wasn't there?
Yeah,
Yep.
Nevertel Wears Prada, all good.
Alright, so when's the Prada X Nevertel tour? Please?
Dude,
Anyway,
fuck me.
When's the Nevertel tour?
When's the Nevertel tour? I might be speaking some bullshit here, but is this
You do?
Prada's best song?
It's up there.
It's
I
it's top
didn't
3
want
at
to
least.
believe it. I didn't want to believe it when it first came out because like Salt Supremacy, but this has deadass been one of the songs I've gone back to the most the entire month. And I never thought I would be saying that about a Prada song.
I think this is
given
like the
my past.
perfect evolution from
Mhm.
Color Decay. Like it sounds like it, but it's also different enough
Yeah.
that it's like separated.
I was so excited to see where they went after Color Decay, and I didn't know how much of what we heard on Color Decay Deluxe would influence that.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right; it feels like the next step up, the next evolution on top of what was already good. Like this is the best way they could have done it. We are on the precipice of, you know, those like Twitter things where it's like name a more perfect 3-album run.
Yeah.
I feel like we're on the precipice of another like all-timer one of those. Like, as much as you and I both love Color Decay, I mean, easily, I would say a top 5 album of all time, if not higher. The Act, fantastic, not as good, but man, this is the most convincing a lead single has been in a long time.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah, like this is already a better start than the Color Decay album cycle.
Oh, absolutely. Sacrifice was the lead single for that, wasn't it?
I believe so, yeah.
It took the album for me to like that. Whereas here's this, and it's fucking amazing. I didn't have much time to listen to new music this month, as opposed to like actually give it attention. But out of every new song that dropped this month, this is the one I played the most.
Yeah, this is
incredible.
definitely my favorite release of the month, 100%.
I could probably give this top 5.
The breakdown, the know your future, the way Mike says future reminds me of the SpongeBob episode where Squidward's like hunched over saying future, and I can't get it out of my head. And now it's stuck in all your heads too.
Dude, literally the moment you said reminds me of, I was like, where is it going with that? And it just, I heard it instantly in my head. And I was like, oh no. God, somebody needs to edit that audio clip.
I think the crazy thing for me is that historically with Prada, it's been Mike's harsh vocals that have been off-putting to me, but his verse of "so we scream the word spelled out, keep doing the same, sing the song, spread the word, keep doing the same, fall in line, keep spinning like a figure eight. I said I don't need you to save me, I'll be what you make me." Like, that is probably my favorite part of the song. Just his delivery on that, it's not harsh enough to where in other Prada songs Mike's delivery has been off-putting to me. It's got the just enough grit while not being too much for me. I don't know. And Jeremy's clean vocals in the chorus are as good as ever. Like, this is exactly what I want Prada to sound like. For all the people that say, "Grr, my band is going softer," I am the proof that maybe that's not a bad thing. That they're getting better.
Yeah.
I
Heavy
also
band
love
going
how-
softer is not always a bad thing.
Unless you're Wage War.
Oh no!
Sorry, I need to throw some strays in there.
No, here's the thing.
I
Going
mean, there's
from
always the opposite with softer going heavier. Breathe
going-
Atlantis.
Yeah, true.
Ugh, don't remind me. Man.
There's some merit to the wage war argument. There's also the argument that they got better from Deadweight towards the Manic era. So
That is true. That new single really pissed me off. Are we talking about that this
No,
month?
we're
When did that
not.
drop?
it was this month. We didn't add it.
Oh, thank
Thank
God,
goodness.
dude.
I'm torturing us enough with hands like houses later.
I love the
I think my eye
like,
just
coming,
twitched when
coming
you
out
said
of the
that.
breakdown in this song. How it's like super toned back, like it's just Jeremy's vocals and maybe like a synth or something.
It's just they added a synth player as like a sixth man in the band, right? With Color Decay.
No, he's been there for a while.
Really? Oh, fuck.
Yeah,
My bad.
they've had. Yeah, I don't think they've had a lineup change for a while. I want to say at least like 3 albums. At least.
Damn,
Anyway.
I did not realize. Well, they've integrated him really well.
I think that's enough talk about the Prada song. Let's keep this train going. Our Promise have dropped brand new single Hijack.
Would you say
Brother
we're
just
hijacking
hijacked the
this train?
conversation.
I certainly did. I absolutely did. This is
Oh.
the
High five,
fourth.
Jacob.
This is the fourth single since the new vocalists came in, and this is probably my second favorite of the new singles in this new era for the band.
I
I
think this
really
is my
love this.
favorite Our Promise song ever.
I agree.
It's got a huge chorus, really sick breakdown. It's got a nice build. Like, this is, I feel like this is Our Promise just doing what they've been doing, but it's more precise, almost more refined. Yeah. I still obviously really enjoy those early songs from the debut EP and there's a couple of singles after that, but this, I feel like this is one of the best recoveries from losing a vocalist that I have seen.
Yeah, they haven't skipped a beat. In fact, they've kind of skipped ahead a beat. I don't want to say like that it was bad before anything, but it feels like to have a vocalist integrate this well that quickly is.
It's 2
Crazy.
vocalists. They replaced 1 vocalist with 2.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh,
The Queen's guy and
Wait.
the harsh vocals are 2 different people in the band now.
dude, I always thought that they had a clean vocalist and the unclean vocalist, and then the unclean vocalist was still in the band.
No.
Wow.
It's-
Okay, then I guess
no.
that shows how much they haven't skipped the beat. That holy shit, I didn't even know.
Yeah, their original vocalist did both the Queens and Unqueens. And then he left, they replaced him with, I believe the guy previously from Time the Evaluator? Maybe? And then the guy that did harsh vocals and How Like
Which
Wolves.
one? There were 3 of them.
I don't know enough
Ooh.
about Time the Evaluator.
I presume it's the middle one because the new guy's still there and Phil Bayer is with FLOYA.
So we've got 2/3 of all the Time the Evaluator vocalists ever in this.
So
group.
where's my time evaluator?
Hey, they're taking their time, man.
They're taking
I know. I want them to take my time with their album.
The only kind of specific thing I want to say, the delivery on Fuck It in the breakdown, beautiful.
That's the highlight of the song for me.
So fuck it, let's move on. Jacob, or Derek, I don't know. One of you.
I would have assumed it was a Jacob ad too. Eminence.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wanted
Sorry.
this one too, right? I figured like I would. That's why I tried to put mine in so you could have some more picks if you needed them. Eminence are back with their newest single, The Black.
There's something in there.
Bars?
Bars.
Guys, this is fucking great.
Dude, I told myself I wasn't gonna listen to this, and then my friend listened to it. And
You
he's
fucking
like,
caved.
It slaps, and then before like 2 seconds into it coming out, he's like, "Okay, I'm listening to it."
This, I'm gonna be so for real, guys. I think this is the best single so far. Am
Of
I off
course.
track for saying that?
This is
No,
second
listen.
best. Second best.
Behind what?
Come hell or high water.
Okay, I'll accept that. answer.
Eh.
Actually, wait, is that the one I'm thinking of? No, I'm not thinking of that.
That was
I'm
the
thinking of
first
Death by
single.
1,000
Come
Cuts.
hell or
No,
high
that's
water
the
was
worst
the
one.
first
No, now we got beef. Oh, dude, this,
Yeah,
this is great. Go ahead.
I agree, Derek. This is the best single. I don't think this saves the album though.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is incredible, and they did what we asked. Like literally, like I think we recorded the episode with Continuum, and then like this released, right, or something like that.
I want to say so, yeah.
And
They just
then
listened immediately.
they just listened to our feedback and just took it right in and just produced this song in like less than 24 hours and then released it. That's what I'm gonna take it as.
Yeah, that's my headcanon. I don't believe anything different because the way that it checks off every single box that we were like, now we
Yeah.
want this. I don't know. Fuck, okay.
Eminence
My
like, I
bad.
bet.
They heard us talking shit and said, okay, dude, check this shit out. My bad.
I feel like if there's any metalcore band that you could trust to make a 6-minute epic, Eminence is one of the first bands that you would list to be like, yeah,
Absolutely.
they would nail a 6-minute song.
Yeah.
There are not a lot of metalcore bands that could. Eminence could.
I need like the 1.5 hour long prog album from this band now. They might be the one band that can do it for me. What I do think is really interesting is the kind of the way that they're releasing this is that it only has like the first single or before it in the release rather than like all of them together. I don't know if they're trying to avoid making it an EP on Spotify or if there's
Yeah,
like some
maybe,
sort of
yeah.
mening to it, but I'm like, I feel like
Letters
I've never
Sent Home
seen
have
that
actually
before.
been doing the same thing. If you check their singles, they only have 3 on each of them. Even though
I
there's
guess
10 to 5
maybe
singles.
four might cross into EP territory or something. So they got to keep it to 3. I don't know, but either way, this is phenomenal. Easily the best Eminence song I've heard in a while. Best single for the album so far. Now I don't know.
100%. And I like the closer on this song is the same title but in French. So what the heck does that mean? Do we get more of this? Like,
I hope so. I wonder if it's like what was that one in was it Arabic on Heaven and
Yeah.
Fighting?
yeah.
What if it's just this song reprised in French? Then
No,
What am I supposed to do?
I don't think it will be.
it's like putting an acoustic song, like an acoustic version of a song on the album at the end. It's just the French edition rather than the acoustic version.
Yeah, and they also I think I mentioned this in a previous episode, but Call of the Void and L'Appel de Vide is French for the Call of the Void, which is another song on the album, or another 2 songs on the album.
Now I don't know what to expect.
I don't know what to expect either. I'm excited and it's like cautiously optimistic. That's the word I'll use. Words I'll use.
Thing.
I said the thing. But yeah, this is incredible.
Just
I got another new band for the podcast. We
Damn
got
straight.
Mayfield with their new single "Blood on Your Hands" off of an upcoming album titled "The Cabin Sessions," which I think is an amalgamation of the EP they dropped last year plus whatever they're dropping this year.
Tell me what you know about white guys. We're in close to Gary. Gary for so long. Next to the cry,
banger.
It's so good.
I wasn't really
like
liking the harsh vocals that they started out with. The Queen vocals are good, but it's, I don't know. I wasn't loving this.
See,
I'll let
that
you guys
was
take it.
that was me at first, and I was like, "Oh, the cleans do it so well for me in this," but for some reason the uncleans just aren't hitting that note. What am I missing? So I went to their most recent song before this called "Keep You," and that is everything I wanted in this band. Like, they are very talented and very diverse. And that's why I really like this song, where I ended up throwing it on. Because you get it's almost like two equal halves of like the harsh melodic post-hardcore and the clean portion of it. And I think works really, really well in this particular song. I don't want to touch too much on stuff that's already released, because I'm sure when the album drops, we'll talk about it. But if this wasn't your thing, like, go back and listen to their discog. They got like pop punk stuff, emo shit, just a ton of stuff. And I'm sure when the album drops, we'll definitely hit more on it. But I really liked the contrast of the harsh vocals and the cleans in this.
Yeah, this style of uncleans wasn't always like something that worked for me. But when that Tequila Achilles album clicked with me last year, this is the good shit now. I really, really enjoyed this. I wasn't sure what to expect when you tagged me and said, "Here you go," but I should have expected something good, because this is fantastic.
I know the good shit.
Off on listening to that EP though, because if there's an album upcoming, I don't want to spoil
Yeah,
it.
it's called the Cabin Sessions. The EP last year was called Cabin Fever, and I think they're gonna end up combining the EP with the new singles of this year and dropping it as an album. So we'll probably see more of them later on this year.
Perfect. I will be happily waiting.
Phrenia are back with their new single Strangers. Just spelled dumbly, but whatever.
With a 3 and a Z, all good. This is another fucking banger, dude. This is the best Phrenia song. I'm putting it out there. That, in my opinion, this is the best Phrenia song.
This, as far as I know, it is either the first English single since we've known that they are dropping an album this year. So this at least is going to be on the album. I don't know if all of the other English songs that they've dropped are going to be. So that would be Dissonance, Apocalypse Hour, Into Infinity, Digital Cage. I don't know if all of those are going to be on it, but I know for sure this is going to be on it. And if this is how the album's going to sound, it's so good. This is like the best portions of Phrenia in one song. I wish they included the uncleans a little bit more.
I don't. I love it how it is.
Yeah. I don't think this song needs uncleans at all.
This
I feel like you
yeah,
feel the emotion just fine without it.
this is very reminiscent to their song Perspectives that they dropped in 2018. That one is still one of my favorites to go back to. That one is one of those like timeless beauties, in my opinion, and it's just so good. And they are just super consistent.
This song almost reminds me of Where Did We Stand by Cantervice, in the sense that it's kind of more of that like slow build ballady rock song that I think if this is going to be on the album, this is very promising. But even as a standalone, it's really good. It's just, I think it gets even better in an album.
Yeah, I agree. I'm curious to see where it's going to follow, because the last album was a mix of Hungarian songs and English songs, and they've already mentioned that it's going to be similar in this new album. So I'm curious to see where everything's going to line up and how it's going to incorporate.
Before we move on to the next one, while we're on the topic of bands singing in 2 languages. I had to cut 2 new songs from the warning this month. I wanted to talk about them, but we had too much to talk about, so I'm gonna wait to talk about them more in June when the album drops. But they also sing in 2 languages, and goddamn if they made a Spanish song that I actually really enjoyed. I never thought I'd be saying that. So
Look, they were sacrificed for the good of the cause.
Maybe Phrenia can get me to enjoy a Serbian or Hungarian song this year as well. Who knows?
We'll see.
Anyways, Derek.
Fox Cult, my beloved, have returned with their newest single, Wormhole, off an upcoming album with no release date.
As of recording this, they've also released their announced their next single, Astral Gallery, dropping April.
Guys,
This is probably my favorite Fox Cult song.
let's fucking go.
I listened to it for the first time 2 hours ago.
This is really good.
I think what I really appreciate the most about this band is their ability to take the kind of post-hardcore sound of Ground Dweller era Hands Like Houses and then combine it with like the atmosphere of early Valiant Hearts and then bring in like the shoegaze feel to it. It's so, the way that they build atmosphere on pretty much
It
every
just kind of
song,
tickled the
especially on this.
dopamine
Oh,
trigger in my
absolutely.
head.
It's almost like you're floating on a bed of stars. Listen to this, is the best way I can do it. Like, I feel like if I closed my eyes, you would see that, like, you know, the hyperspace effect from Star Wars when they're in the Millennium. That's what I see constantly if I close my eyes anytime I listen to a Fox Cult song, and especially this in particular. Like, the way that this gives a kind of floating through the stars kind of feel to it is just wow.
Dude, they are touring with Nightlife in June, and I immediately bought tickets when they went on sale.
I am hoping maybe to catch the Sacramento show for show of the tour. We will see. But
It is
I would
so
fucking
good.
love to see this band and Nightlife together. Individually, let alone together. Like,
It's crazy.
yeah, tour of the year as far as I'm concerned. I hope I get
Do
to
we
see
know? Do we know if the album's going to include the Indigo Fault?
it. I don't.
Okay.
I just know that they've said that there's an album or teased an album coming later this year. So I have no idea what's on it. I don't think they've said anything really. I mean, they're all
I wouldn't be shocked,
DIY,
but
so they don't have like a label to manage it for them or anything. They're doing this all themselves. So, which I think is equally as impressive that a band this small can make soundscapes and songs consistently so good without like it's just pure raw artistic talent. Hello?
not quite.
Yeah, it's kind of jeez. But no, like I am continuously impressed by this band, and it kind of, I expected and hoped that they would have more monthly listeners than they did when they dropped the Indigo Fault, but they don't. So for everybody listening, there is still time for you to hop on before this band inevitably gets big, as they deserve to.
Become an OG.
You need to become an OG part of the Fox Cult. Now, I've been naughty, and I've moved a little blemish into the playlist ordering that I don't think we have art for. How does everyone feel about discussing that?
Here's the thing.
We
Because of
changed
the
the
new
layout.
format, because of the new layout, we can actually just add playlists mid-thing now. It's
Perfect.
fine.
All right, guys.
I just love that Derek is always the chaotic one that always messes with it.
No, I just saw it come up.
Wage War have released their newest song, Magnetic.
If I'm being honest, this isn't even that bad. Like, it's not good, but it's not that bad.
This is bad.
This is
This
the
is like-
worst thing to happen to the scene so far this year.
Yeah, because Icy Stars haven't released.
Exactly.
What Where are Icy Stars when you need them most?
I don't know. They're away right now, and I think we're honestly better off for it. All right, this is the hater section of the podcast. We got to get all the negativity out now, and potentially.
Oh
and
no, there's
approximately-
another one. No, we're going back to it.
We've got.
Well, let's get it out of our system now. We'll come back to it later.
We've got 15 tracks and 1 EP before shit hits the fan again. So let's take this little intermission and pump the brakes on all the positivity.
Yo,
Go get your popcorn if you
There's-
haven't.
this song was mediocre, and then it became trash when the breakdown came in.
Exactly. This is the most soulless corporate piece of shit I have maybe ever heard from like any heavy band. And that's saying something. If it's not there, then if it's not the most, then it is so bad in my current presence of mind that it's replaced all the other ones.
Well,
Like this is like,
What my question is why is this a lead single?
it makes no fucking sense, right? Like what could have been the previous lead singles for like Pressure was low, Manic was
High Horse.
High Horse. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? This has nothing. You and me are always gonna be like this. This sounds like some shit that I would catch like a divorced mid-40s dad in Missouri listening to as he like drives through.
We have one viewer that's like exactly like that.
And he's like, "Fuck!" Like, no, oh God, it just makes me so mad because even off Manic, like even if there was some stuff where people were like, "Oh, Wage War sold out," like there was still songs that made me believe that this band wanted to make good music. This is not that. This is like if you asked an AI to generate a song that would end up on Octane. Like that's
And it has ended up on Octane, all right.
Like,
And it
of
is
course,
pulling
it's like
numbers
number one on all
Octane.
these charts. I'm like, nobody has any fucking taste, dude. Because this has nothing. If you're going to make a song that's this generic, right? Give me something. Give me vocals to appreciate. Give me a breakdown that's good and has a good build, and give me a good riff or something. This
has a lot of
none of that.
listens.
There's no. I almost don't even.
We're over a
wanna look.
million.
Yeah, people need to get their fucking ears checked. This should set a record for least second plays of any song ever. I would hope that those would be one unique stream per person.
I'm
This is
at
just
like
nothing.
5 or 6 on this song. I'm gonna be.
You are a part of the problem, Jake.
Didn't have to tell him twice.
I
guess I'll see you in hell.
Yeah, we'll get there in a second because God rest him for getting there.
I know.
Dude,
Dude, that was a good one.
fuck this song, dude. I'm like actually so mad listening to this because it's a band full of talented people who choose not to. Cody fucking writes for every big metalcore act out there at this point, which means that those bands all have, at this point, it seems like more talent for hooks or instrumentation or whatever. So now the whole genre sounds like what Wage War wants to be, but Wage War are doing it worse. Like it's just I mean, like it's fuck Ronnie Radke, right? But he's got an incredible ear for a hook. Memphis Mayfire, for all of however generic you want to claim that last album to be, if you take it for what it was fantastic. And Maddie Mullins is an incredible vocalist. So you've got better instrumentation and hooks on one side, better vocals on another side. What do you get here? This is nothing. This is literally nothing. There's no soul, there's no substance. It seems like there was no fucking thought put into this. Like this really truly does feel like they took it and said, let's put a make me a metalcore song into ChatGPT. And it gave them a bunch of lyrics about vaguely missing somebody and how we're always going to be magnetic and said, put a breakdown here. But they didn't know how to fucking do it. So they just slapped some, not even a good break. It's not even like it's a, oh, surprise, good breakdown. It's just surprise, mediocre breakdown in the middle of a song that didn't need it. Fuck.
It feels like the most unnecessary breakdown I've heard since that one Motionless in White song from the last album.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what? There's another bottom 3 one. Red, white, and boom.
Dude,
I don't think it's out. It was one of the like Masterpiece or something.
Yeah,
Yeah. No,
another
sorry,
way
that
to
just
promote-
reminded me of that
their
song.
Anyway,
their
let's
most
do it.
played. It's like their most played song.
God, Fucking A, dude. What is wrong with people? I'm sorry.
I think Wage War knew what they were doing with this because they made the album art yellow, and yellow is obviously the worst color.
That's so true. Yellow haters rise the fuck up. This song's fine. Fuck Yellow.
Dude, actually, that's true because the core playlist is yellow and Architects are on the cover, so it's all coming up.
Caskets and Siamese are the only two bands to have ever made Yellow work.
That is true. That is very true. Also, this art sucks. If I'm like, the more I look at it, it's just nothing. I feel like you can make this in 15 minutes in Photoshop. God, this band.
Alrighty.
They had so much potential. Anyway, sorry, I'm off my hater train. It's been bothering me all month, man. And I was like, I'd forgotten that I wanted to talk about it, but then I listened again and I'm like, wow, I am feeling so strongly about this.
I haven't gone back since.
I tried not to. And then after we mentioned it, I was like, oh, yeah.
You're all
There
the
you go.
listens then.
Fuck, I'm the problem.
1.4 million listeners, that's you.
All right. We're back on the train of incredible tracks. No pun intended. After a brief stop onto Wage War. Justin, take it away.
I got a palate cleanser for you all, and it's Home Team. They're back with their new single, Hell.
Let's go, Home Team!
This fucking rules.
This band fucking rules, bro.
I don't want to phrase this in me thinking I don't like this song, but this song is a fraction of Brag. Like, this song is good. This is a fraction as
incorrect.
good as No, hold on. Let's give him a second chance here. What fraction is it?
We're talking like a third, maybe.
Ooh, no. Time out.
you had that second chance.
Jake, we're gonna take like a 5-minute pause before
this
we get
song
to your
is
song.
if you're wanting
in
me
the
to
corner
say,
and think about what you've done.
If you wanted me to say that this song is like 9 out of 10,
I didn't want you to
as
say
Brag,
anything.
it is not. It is not on the same level. It is like a couple of pegs down. It's still
Not on
good.
the same level because it's above it, bro.
No.
This is so good, and I want to make mention to the music video because it's
Fantastic
animated and in a bunch of different details. That Guitar Hero portion with like the missed notes, that fucking ruled.
Dude, I get like what Fall Out Boy vibes from this.
Yeah,
Like Panic, I guess, as well.
When they were good. When
like
they were
2000,
yeah, of course.
2006 era,
yeah,
like Fall Out Boy and all that.
but it still feels modern.
Mm-hmm.
Like it still feels current.
I agree. Like the Home Team have not missed at all, and it's fucking wild the amount of talent these guys have.
I am so excited for this album.
Do we know when it's dropping?
I don't know, actually. Let me go check their socials.
I don't think it's been announced yet.
The Home Team.
I think it's at least going to include everything from Loud onward.
Yeah. Brag has me very excited. These other two singles, less so. Like, they're still good, but really, Brag is carrying. Brag is carrying.
Really
right
negative. How dare he?
Hey, the song's better than Wag Wag, okay?
Not fucking wag, bro. They should
Dude,
rebrand.
that's not.
Bunch of dogs.
That would have been perfect transition into Bill Murray.
Can we take a moment to appreciate the summer school tour that got announced with the Home Team, Magnolia Park, Stand Atlantic, Scene Queen, Honey Revenge, and Letdown? It's just like
is that coming to me? I forget.
Let me see. Let me tell you.
I don't think
It's not coming to me. That's for
It's
fucking
not
sure.
coming to me either, really. I don't think it comes to any of us.
You know what? I probably, yeah.
They gave up on Canada here.
Well, I've given up on Canada.
You should join the summer school tour.
All right, Jake.
We got a band coming back with their first new song in about 2 years. Inertia have returned with their brand new song, Dominion.
Dominion!
They are pissed. They are mad.
They are best when they are pissed. Because what's the other one? It's
Nemesis.
Nemesis, yeah. Besides Memoria, in my opinion, their best song, I would put this top 3. Honestly, probably ahead of Nemesis. I really fucking like this. This was great.
Yeah, this is, if you liked Nemesis, you're gonna like this. This has the same really crisp production that entire EP had, and it's just as mad and angry. I love the vocal delivery of the chorus of systematic suffering is part of the game. Symptomatic, everyone's got something to say. Super clean, and then the breakdown is sick as well. The riffs are sick. This is an I'm fucking pissed type of song. This is the sub 3 minute metalcore heater stereotype, if you want to call it that. Yeah. And they have nailed it.
It's very hard to miss on one of those, but they have succeeded very well here, in my opinion.
Can you guys correct me if I'm wrong? This is heavier than they normally are, right?
Typically, there is like more clean vocals. Like if you go back to the Memoria EP, Nemesis was the only heavy pissed off song on that EP, so it was like 1 out of 5. This, maybe they're trending in a heavier direction, but I also read some of the comments on the video that they are going to have more songs that have that more post-hardcore, clean vocal driven sound to it. So who knows? Very versatile and underrated band, regardless.
Absolutely, definitely deserves to be one of the bigger. I think like at least 100,000. Come on now, what are we doing? Jacob, you got a back-to-back double feature coming up here.
Do I? Oh my god, finally. Haven't been able to do this in like 27 years or something, like 4 years. How long have we been doing this?
Yeah,
You get used to it.
We got Bill Murray with the new single, Blindsided.
It's in my head. Was it ever even real? Or did your heart get colder? Did I ever make you feel when your head was on my shoulder?
Now, I don't want to be a hater, but this is a fraction as good as Better Hell.
You know
This
what?
guy is just hating. Listen to him.
1/3. No, I'll go like 3/4.
3/4.
Yeah.
I would say that this is 5/8 of the song that Better Hell is.
I hate this. Too much math.
This song, it doesn't do anything special for me. Better Hell is incredible. This one,
didn't watch the music video.
I did. Cute doggo. I'm not a dog person.
No, who cares about the dog? What about the deers?
This song, it's not doing much for me. It's falling in the same vein that a lot of 400-pound back squat and all the other Bill Murray albums that haven't done a ton for me. Better Hell, that shit still slaps though.
I think this. I don't know if those songs released last summer are in part of this album cycle, but at least since the last album, all the singles have been a step up from his last album. Or
I would agree with that. Yeah, album. Like I think even though I'm not the biggest Bill Murray fan, I think this is probably the most excited I've been about Bill Murray ever since you guys introduced me a couple years ago.
I've said it before, but I'm gonna say it again. I love the country twang. It's like just enough to make me not hate it and like love it at the same time.
The instrumentation on this, I think, is my favorite out of all the singles that's dropped.
I really like. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, what about the eagle at the end?
That's not what I said.
I really like the way that, like you were talking about with the twang. This is now like Midwestern rock.
Yeah,
not even Midwestern emo. It's just like rural America rock.
Dude, you see he's doing like the world tour and it's just Ohio.
He's going over to Japan to support baby metal. So all these Japanese fans at a Japanese fest are gonna get the American Eagle at the end of this song. The next one, the breakdown call out, is from a NASCAR race from like 15-20 years ago with a come and start your engines. Like this is Bill Murray is now like America's rock band. They've taken over. This is fucking fantastic. I love Bill Murray again, which I felt kind of in a slump with
Yeah, I remember you weren't that big of a fan.
The last two albums.
Yeah.
These
Farm
new
Back's
singles
got
are
a couple good ones, but
this is a bit of a return to form.
Yes.
I agree. Yes.
And I like the consistency. I always thought that adding that kind of steel guitar, country twang to his music was where he really excelled. So the fact that he's embraced it and is moving forward with it like broadly it's perfect for me. I love this shit. Phenomenal. Round 2, Jacob. Get in
Round
there.
2, 1,000 Below have released new single Shake.
Drink up, wasted with my friends. Burn away inside my head. Feel the shake inside my breath. Feel go.
1,000 Below?
This is a
Continue to
middle of
be
the road
great.
song.
Like off that last album or just
for,
in general?
For it's off an album. I'd say it's higher, but I think I'd put it in like same rating as like a Face to Face
Okay.
from the last album, which wasn't my favorite song, but it was okay.
I like this a lot. I don't think I like it more than like my favorite songs off of Hell Finds You Everywhere or Gone in Your Wake, but it's still like solid. I think that's the biggest thing for me is I'm not a biggest fan of the Love You Let Too Close. I really enjoy the more post-hardcore sound, and I feel like they're really starting to get a hold of how to do that best.
This is a little bit heavier than we.
Yeah. This is a good middle ground between the two, maybe. I fuck with it heavily. Is that a lightsaber in the thing,
I don't
by
know
the
what
way?
it is, honestly.
I can't tell.
I love the electronics at the end, right after the chorus. I guess it's the last chorus.
They've got all the elements here, I feel like, that they have been kind of hinting at. So I'm wondering do we know if this is like a lead single for anything?
I assume it
Presumably.
is. Yeah, but we
But nothing
don't know.
confirmed.
I mean, we can't really assume that because is it Gonomy wasn't on
True.
Yeah.
Hell Finds You Everywhere,
True. Very true.
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I
it may just be a
remember-
standalone.
This is kind of a side tangent, but I remember James saying he wanted that song on How Finds You Everywhere,
It would have fit so well.
but the rest of the band thought it was too far out.
Mm,
Like it was released too far out, so they didn't do it.
I
But I
guess.
agree, it would have fit.
Yeah, I agree too. James, we're showing solidarity. Just make our own playlist and
Dog
put it in
is
wherever we
in
think
solidarity.
it goes best. Yup, exactly. The cover of the Bill
touched
Murray single
on-
just barked at me.
We haven't touched on the breakdown in this song yet. I really like
okay.
the breakdown. I like how like it gets like the pace increases in the second half of it with the guitar.
Mm.
I thought it was like a really cool. I don't know. I feel like a lot of breakdowns, the second half of it gets chunkier and heavier, where this one instead it increases the tempo,
Yeah.
which is a nice change of pace in the post To the Hellfire world of how fucking chunky can you make a breakdown, you know?
The post to the Hellfire world.
Surely I'm not the only one that's noticed, like, more bands are trying to just deal with the most obscene shit in a breakdown just for
Yeah,
the-
they're
You gotta be
Right.
creative.
facts.
I think that's what it is. Alrighty, Jake.
Let Us Send Home have released the final single for their upcoming album, Forever Undone. The song is called Final Battle.
'Cause I'm sick of pressure and I'm tired of the blame. When I meet the end of the world, I'll be proud of myself for never giving in.
Yeah, it's another fantastic single from Letter Sent Home. Who's surprised? I feel like this is gonna be a song that works better in the context of the album than as a standalone single. Still really fun, still really catchy. The lyrical content, I assume, has some sort of anti-religious sentiment, but I can't fully piece it together with reading the lyrics. So I don't know. We'll see. My favorite line in this song is closer to the end, in the chorus, where it's, "When I meet the end of the world, I'll be proud of myself for never giving in to your apathetic ways." I don't know. It feels like it's that positive twist on negativity almost, where it's like something sucks, but you're finding a silver lining anyway.
Mm.
That's kind of how I interpret it. But Yeah, this is probably going to be my album of the year, if not one of my top 5, probably. And I've already basically shilled for this band enough with all the previous singles. Has this song changed any of your guys' minds? I'm assuming not, but...
I didn't listen to it because I don't want to listen to any more singles before the album drops.
Fair.
I felt like I'd heard too many.
So, I guess if we don't have too much more to say, then I'm going to save the rest of the discussion for when the album drops next month, so stay tuned for that. Let's move on then. Derek, you got a new band, I believe.
I do. God help me if I know how to pronounce it, but we got a new band. CZYK, all caps, are back with their newest single, Kill the Flame, featuring Neverless. So I rarely ever check my release radar anymore, mostly because I forget about it, but I decided to on this particular Friday and was like, oh, new Neverless feature. Let's see how this pans out. And holy shit, this is fantastic. If you guys know me, I love when metalcore and post-hardcore implement electronics and all that, and this does it fantastically. I think the Neverless feature fits really well. The breakdown is great. You know, it's just it fits really well. Like I could easily see this being a Neverless song. I mean, maybe Justin, you could attest to that maybe a little better than me, but I really, really liked this. This was a big surprise for me. I haven't gone back to check out any of their other stuff, but they are out of Phoenix, Arizona, and discovered on the Babycore playlist on Spotify for all of you Babycore enjoyers out there. So
I don't know if I would call this baddiecore.
I wouldn't either, but I think that means that they've got a lot of singles that I haven't listened to, so that probably means that there's some softer stuff, kind of in the vein of what was it, Mayfield that we were talking about earlier. So I'm very interested to go back and see what all their discography looks like, because they fucking killed it here. This was great.
Yeah, I'd say this is on par with most of Neverless' stuff.
That's what I'm saying, is it's like you could make this a Neverless only song and it would work. So it makes me wonder like how CZYK Sizik.
Yeah,
I have no idea. Sizik, okay. Andy, is that you?
I don't quite think so.
You know, close enough.
Sean Fitz has released new single Clover featuring City of the Week.
For all of you that are excited that winter is going away and are ready for the summer vibes, this is the summer vibe song.
I think this is the summer vibe song on the playlist.
I saw on Instagram he posted he has like an Irish background, so he released this near St. Paddy's Day, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'm trying to place
Lucky like a clover.
He sounds like Sad Eyes, if that's what you're.
Yeah, I was gonna say it
sounds like Sad
and
Eyes.
Fucking somebody else too that I haven't been able to put my finger on, but Sad Eyes is probably a very good comparison. I thought this was great.
Yeah.
I really like that kind of almost monotone delivery. I feel like you have to have a certain apathy to pull it off. And I feel like he does it really, really well. Because there's a lot of music that sounds like in the same vein that's kind of like bland, but I thought that he pulled it off really fucking well here. Yeah, this is just great.
I was very surprised with the, like I said, it sounds like Sad Eyes. I was like, huh, that's not what I was expecting from this.
No, definitely. I think if I had to rank the recent singles, I'd probably say Halo, this, then Ammo. Am I off base on that? Like, that feels right to me.
I'd agree.
Anyway, go check out Sean Fitz' upcoming album. Had a great after hours, or upcoming artist rather, had a great after hours with him a couple months ago. Fantastic dude, great songs, lots of variation and influences in his music. So definitely worth the check if you like anything between rock, emo rap, anything in the middle. Definitely somebody to check out.
If you're feeling lucky.
Like Clover. speaking of artists to check out, Jake's got a pretty good 3-song run here. Jake, why don't you get us started on that?
Yeah, we got MOTHICA, who has returned with the lead single for upcoming album Kissing Death. This is called Doomed.
To be wild. Everyone said I was a gifted child. Punctured my skin.
When's the album come out?
August 23rd, so it is quite a ways away, and we are getting a new song every 3 weeks, apparently.
Oh,
So,
Damn. How many songs on the album? Like 15?
I want to say
18?
12, but I could be wrong. Because every song on this album is also getting a music video.
Oh.
So it's
okay.
going to be a visual album, which is really
It's
cool.
a
And that's
big
what has
budget
me
album.
the most excited about this Kissing Death album as a whole. I don't love this song in comparison to most of Nocturnal. It's a slower build. It's kind of more of a ballad. I don't know if I agree with this being the lead single. I feel like I would like this more as like a third or fourth single down the line. But I don't know. We'll see when the rest of the singles for this album cycle come out.
Is she releasing the songs in like track listing order?
No, this is like towards the back half of the album as far as I understand.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's going to be a visual album titled Kissing Death. Every song gets a music video. She released a trailer for the visual album, which gives like hints and teases for like the aesthetic and just the general atmosphere and lore behind the album, which I definitely think is worth a watch. I may not love this song as much as some of her previous material, but I think the environment she is building about this album is going to make it really special, and I'm very excited to hear what these future singles sound like, even if I don't love this one.
I really like this. I think that this kind of storytelling aspect is something that MOTHICA does really well.
Oh yeah.
And I
for
think
sure.
that it's something that's kind of missing in a way for me right now in the scene. I think we have a lot of good music coming out. For God's sake, I saved like, I want to say 20 out of the 26 singles that we have this month, or 27, I guess. But I really appreciate a good story, and the way that MOTHICA leans into it, both with her sound and her lyricism, is just fantastic. So if this is a visual album as well, I'm assuming that there is a concept driving, at least
Yes.
underarchingly. So
I'd be very curious about that too, because I really enjoyed this song. The one thing that like kind of took me out of it is the lyric "I want to be cool." It's a little
Well, here, I've just
Yeah.
pulled up from the trailer. There's a little blurb in the description for what the album's based on. This is a
Okay.
twisted, surreal version of my origin story. This is for the younger version of me who romanticized death for a decade and the lasting impact it had on me as I
Okay.
searched for an easier, softer way to exist.
See, that makes more sense now. I want to be cool. She's younger.
yeah,
It just so
redeemed.
my gripe is taken away.
+1 star on the Good Noodle chart for MOTHICA.
I also think we
Yeah.
might be getting a little bit of country twang on this album.
I mean, she grew
Has to
up
be
in
done
a rural
right.
area, right?
She has teased it. I mean, yeah, she's from suburban Oklahoma.
It's in the
so-
song.
Okay.
Tulsa, Oklahoma,
Oh
guys.
yeah, fuck. Shit. I'm a fraud. -1 star on my Good Noodle.
There's a little more to the blurb, but that, like, 2 lines there is kind of the thick of it. It's just, the last line of the blurb is, oh, and did I mention Dancing Cowboys? So, I feel like,
Perfect.
I don't know.
Wait, Attack collab? Hold on.
That could be
Hold
really
off,
good or
maybe,
really bad.
actually. Hold off, maybe, actually.
MOTHICA attack.
Okay.
that-
Next song, Jake.
Do you know about girls? I don't know. We're gonna, that's a bottom 5 transition, actually. Stand Atlantic, Paris, and Bruises have dropped new song, Girls, with a $sign.
You don't deserve that transition, man.
that was
That was brutal.
I almost wanted to say the line in the chorus where it was like, do you know dick about girls? And then I wasn't sure about it, but now I've just said it anyway, so what the fuck am I saying? Derek, you take this one first. I'm just gonna go hide in the corner now.
Fucking finally, man. Dude, this fucks. This is, in my opinion, one of the better songs. I shouldn't say one of the better ones. One of my favorite songs released this year. I mean, I had Paris in my top 10 albums of last year. I had Stand Atlantic in my top 10 albums of the year in 2022. Like, it's no surprise that a collab would work really well. But this, like, almost short form style that Stand Atlantic has kind of adopted of the sub 3-minute song, they really managed to make it seem like more fleshed out than it is, while also creating an insane replay value out of it. They've got it down to a T. It's fucking fantastic.
One thing I forgot to mention, actually, this is another August 23rd album. New album called Was Here, releasing August 23rd.
Dude.
And has a feature from Polaris, which is pretty fucking sick.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. I'm so excited for that. Do we know, wasn't August 23rd when Pink Elephant released too? That was like Pink Elephant to Better Days and...
I feel like it was earlier in the month.
I'm checking.
I feel like it was earlier in the month.
It might have been.
I am so checking right now. Hold.
Pink
Pink Elephant was August 7th. Pink Elephant was August 7th.
I'm so good.
Dude, better than me. I got cooked. Another star off my good noodle chart. No, dude, I don't think, at least for me, there's nothing not to like about this. It's got the very kind of middle finger fuck you energy that some of the songs off that last Paris album has, and just Stand Atlantic have had in general. Putting them together to collab on this, it's not something that I would have expected, but it makes a lot of sense, and especially in hearing it, like, they pulled it off really, really well. The swagger, the energy, it's all there. And this has suddenly, after not being a big fan of Sex on the Beach or Warzone to an extent, like, this has started to redeem my opinion of the album. I thought for a second it was going to be the first time that I wasn't excited for a Stand Atlantic album, but now they've roped me back in and done it in a fantastic way. I love this.
Even if Stand Atlantic get really experimental and drop something that isn't great, you can always count on them to, like, return the favor at some point, it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
The only fault I have with this song, maybe it's so on the nose about gay girls and being a girl, and lyrically, I'm just not relating to it in any
You can't
way,
relate
shape,
to
or
it
form. as
well, I mean,
as a very straight white male.
that is true. This isn't one of your bops. I don't.
Like, instrumentally, this song is great, but lyrically, this was a little off-putting in the same way Sex on the Beach kind of is.
This is like, I mean, I don't know. You picked like two of the best women-loving women in the scene to get this out there. So I don't know. I liked it, but not in like. I feel like this isn't one of those songs that needs to be relatable, and that's why I don't care about the lyricism, because I can just accept it for what it is, and it's fun. It's just a good time. I feel like Stand Atlantic is music meant for a good time, and this,
that's
in my
true.
opinion, pulls it off in spades. If it was a ballad or something, on the other hand, then I'd be like, okay, yeah, maybe not, but it does its job, and it does it well. This is phenomenal, in my opinion. But all right, Jake.
And for the third album announcement in a row, Reliqa have released brand new song Killstar The Cold World off of upcoming album Secrets from the Future, coming out May 31st.
Did you neutralize the shame? Inside,
and boy am I excited for this one. Reliqa are one of the very few bands that I listen to that managed to make this very progressive metalcore sound actually work, and something that I actively look forward to. It makes me question why I don't enjoy other prog metal bands in a similar way.
I can tell you why.
Because it's female vocalist, yeah.
Pretty new. This almost instrumentally reminds me a little bit of Born of Osiris in a way. I don't know if I'm off base.
I was gonna say,
but
instrumentally, I didn't really vibe with this. It was too, like, I guess, like, traditional metal is what I would say. I don't know how to word it, honestly.
This is definitely, compared to Terminal, which was very much like verse chorus type of fairly familiar song structure. This song goes all over the fucking place. And it's just really fucking cool. Like, I listen to this song and I'm like, how do you even begin to write a song like this?
Mm-hmm.
You know? It's just really impressive. And it's got some really solid hooks. I love the slow, like, dropout before the final chorus, which is just so massive. Monique's vocals are fantastic across the entire song, from the queens in the chorus to the more rap-ish, like, fast vocal delivery in some of the verses or whatever. And yeah, it's just a really cool song. I don't know if I like it as much as Terminal, but I do still really enjoy it. Yeah, Secrets from the Future, upcoming album, coming out in May. I am very excited. About damn time that I get a debut album from this band.
Honestly, me too at this point. I really like this a lot. Instrumentally, it was great, in my opinion. So I'm very much feeling it. I'm tentatively hopping on the Reliqa train with you, Jake. We'll see if I want to get off by the time the album comes. But for now, so I can get my use of it in, cautiously optimistic, because this is really good.
Yeah.
Justin,
I don't have
buddy,
enough.
it's time for your three song run.
I don't have an album announcement for you, but I got some bangers. We got Rev Noir, our featuring on a song with Viper of Magnolia Park, produced by Viper, with Young Zyme, and their song is called Snake.
That's a mouthful.
There's a lot goes
Really
into
long
it.
feature list.
It's really good. It's a really fucking good song.
This is very surprising to me. I literally had no idea that it's from Magnolia Park. I mean, we've listened to a couple of Rev Noir songs, but I had no idea what to anticipate. And this surprised me in a good way.
Yeah, it's we've talked about Rev Noir in the past, and the vocalist is just really good. He's very, very talented. He does the chorus in this, and I feel he fits so well. I like the rap portion as well. I feel like it blends pretty well. Obviously my favorite portion is the chorus though, but all in all, this has been like one of my top most played songs of the month.
Kind of the rapping kind of reminds me of like a Corpse.
Yeah, I kind of got that vibe too, honestly.
I could see it. But
Yeah.
Corpse, if he was good. That's the
Okay.
distinction.
I don't have too much more to say. I mean, it's just kind of one of the more consistently good songs that fits pretty well. The chorus hits pretty good. You're falling in love with Falling All Apart. In the Mind of a Monster, Dread the Snake. It's so clean. The Rev Noir vocalist is slowly becoming like one of my top vocalists in the scene at the moment that's actively releasing stuff. Now, if I tell you guys that I have a Justin band ready for you,
Yep.
this band, new to the podcast, is from Kazakhstan, because that's where I find them apparently in my release radar. Their single is
Checks out.
titled Violet. I believe this is off an upcoming album. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it's related to something.
Justin, I
Can we,
said it in
like-
the Discord when you posted this song. You're getting dangerously close to my territory of Southeast Asia.
Look,
There's been
I'm
a
all
horror
around the
dispute.
fucking planet. You can't get rid of me.
You know, what I really want to see is like I want to get you a blank, like black and white map of the world, Justin, and I want you to go into like your favorite graphic editing software and
Look,
just
I
color
didn't
every band that you found from these different
Look,
countries every time you find one.
I didn't
Jake
wanna
is wrong
say
saying
it.
that.
I didn't want to say it, but to give you guys the idea, but I was really expecting a short for someone to do for me. Just give me a fucking country, make me name like an artist or something. Like I could remember that off the top of my head.
Rank these 5 countries by artists within them. Number 1, Kazakhstan.
Just make me remember them. I don't forget half the shit
Name
I talk
a
about.
band from this country.
This breakdown, folks.
While we're kind of off topic, I found a metalcore band from Myanmar recently. I haven't thrown it in any of our podcasts, but
Where the hell is that?
Southeast Asia,
Southeast
bro?
Asia, bro. It's his domain.
What the?
They have like 1,000 monthly listeners, and it showed up in my YouTube recommended.
Well, look, the moment I find someone from Alaska, Antarctica, or was it South Korea or North Korea? One of those two. This podcast is fucked.
Definitely South. There is. I know an artist from South Korea. Actually,
Yeah, I do too.
Does Diva count?
Yeah, it's all K-pop.
To cycle back to this song, breakdown fucks.
Yeah, that's really the standout of this song. Incredibly sick breakdown. Like the rest of the song is good, but goddamn that breakdown.
They dropped an EP last year. It was a 6-track EP. I need to go back and listen to it to see how familiar it is to this, but I really liked the clean instrumentation of this, and then just that contrast always gets me when you just out of nowhere come in with like very heavy instrumentation and really good vocals that aren't too off-putting. To me, at least, I know I have child ears compared to everyone else here. But yeah, this band's really good. They only have 1,000 monthly listeners.
Damn.
That's probably because of the country. I don't know how they ended up in my release radar because I hadn't heard of them before then, but they're here and they made a statement. They're in my like songs now.
Going through looking to see if I recognized any of the album art to see if we somehow managed to listen to them before.
The album art's very similar to Inner Space, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and that might just be like the planet. Because that's I may have because the album art's familiar to me, but I don't remember where from. But all in all, a decent ad for out of the fucking nowhere. And we got another band coming back. We got Archers dropping their new single "Drag Me Out" off of an upcoming EP. Am I correct in that, Jake?
Yes.
Yeah, EP dropping in May.
I have it.
This is one of Archer's best songs.
The EP is called "All That I Have Left," coming out May 10th.
This is one of Archer's best songs.
No, this is Archer's best song.
I'm still attached to Making Eyes because that was one of my favorites. And the Nerve feature or the Nerve rework and Save Us Sober is also really good. This is the perfect Archer's song in my opinion.
Yeah, this is what I have wanted from Archers. I've been waiting for an Archer song to fully click with me, and goddamn, this one fully clicked with me.
I really like how the cleans, like there's two vocalists, they can both do cleans and uncleans like phenomenally well. It's insane.
I love a good band like that. Rest in peace, the New Low.
This is the new low.
They have the potential
The
to be
new.
the new. Does that make them the old low? And the two negatives come
the old top.
The old top. God, no, this is fucking phenomenal. I really, really like this. This is
sick breakdown, huge chorus, great
dude,
verses.
In the breakdown,
this is the entire package
where they give you the like, it's like the chug space.
Yeah,
like it fakes you out twice. Shit is so hype.
It's so good.
I love that.
The cutting off the instrumentals. I know Jacob mentions that quite a bit when that comes through. That's also something I noticed, and it's really good when it's done well. This EP is going to be like one of the top EPs of this year. Calling it.
Yeah, if you told me that Archers was dropping an EP 2 weeks ago, I would not have cared. Post Drag Me Out, I am interested.
Very interested.
I'm curious to see if it's got everything from Blanket Fort that dropped, or if it's like new stuff and maybe Bitter and Say This Sober. Let's finish out the singles with technically not singles, but they've existed before and now they're finally on Spotify, so that's an excuse for us to talk about them. Archetypes Collide have finally released the bonus tracks that were physical only to the album that they dropped last year. They dropped Ghost and They Don't Know.
I'm running out of time. Losing all control. They don't know what makes me wish I was in.
Guys, will you get mad at me if I put They Don't Know in my top 10 songs of 2024? I don't know if I've heard it
Dude,
since last year.
these both slap.
They're
Like,
so good. I'm so sad they weren't. They
I'm
Don't
allowed
Know
to
would have
put
been
They
a
Don't-
perfect
why were
closer.
these on the album?
I'm allowed to put
I mean,
They
they
Don't Know
were.
in my top 10 for 2024, right? Please?
You know,
It's just,
I
it's
think
so
I'll
good.
allow it.
I'll also allow it.
I
Technically, it was
remember the
unreleased.
first time that I heard They Don't Know on my physical CD, and I was like, oh my god, this is...
After me telling
This
you
is
to listen to it
yeah.
several times.
Jake, how long have you been holding that in?
A while. Quite a while, yeah. This released like in the last few days of the month, and it has become one of my most played songs of the month. I'm not gonna lie.
Yo, shout out to the guys at Archetypes who March 31st was the 1 year of that album. Still a phenomenal album
Yeah.
for a debut.
I maintain that Love Again is a fine closer. I know you guys like it more than I do. If They Don't Know was the official album closer, that is bumping it up in my top 10 albums of 2023 at least 2 or 3 spots alone.
Put it in your list.
Put the deluxe in your top 10 list this year. I don't think that's gonna happen.
No.
I want to make mention of
They Don't Know is so fucking good. The chorus of They Don't Know What Makes Me Wish That I Wasn't Around, even after all the nights I spent breaking down, forever defending a fake happy ending. Just forever defending a fake happy ending in particular is just such a powerful line, and the synth bits in the post-chorus bridge section are just, it matches the tone and the energy of the sadness that the song is describing so well. It's just, God, it's such a good fucking song.
I want to make mention of Ghost because I know we've been on They Don't Know a lot, but Ghost is also really good. It is coded in that kind of somber style song sound that Kyle does just phenomenally well. I think both of these songs are like top half of the album in my opinion. But they're kind of similar in structure, so that's why I'm okay with them not being on the main album because they're very similar.
Yeah.
If
But
you're asking me,
they're
They
also
Don't Know
just
is-
really good.
If you're asking me,
I
They
agree
Don't
with
Know
Jake.
might be the best song across all 14 songs.
Really?
You know what? I might agree with him.
Wow.
It is not
think
like
it's upper half for sure,
if
but-
it's not They Don't Know, it is like just barely
I might
behind
listen to the
Parasite.
album, though. It's been a
'Cause
while since I listened to the
Parasite
album.
was borderline top 10 song of the year for me last year, and They Don't Know hits just as hard.
So am I the only one that likes Ghost more then?
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay.
They are equal to me, and that's only because I've had this for so long that I can kind of pick out between the two, like which parts I like and which parts I'm okay with.
I mean, I think this just shows like we can't agree on this, but
Yeah.
it just shows how good both songs are.
Oh yeah, no, Archetypes they remain to be one of the most versatile metalcore up and rising bands as of right now.
That album
And
did not do
it's
enough
crazy.
numbers last year. The numbers on those songs, criminally low.
Yeah, I'm looking
They
at
were-
the plays on here. Why is, of all songs at the very least, why is Silence not popping the fuck off?
You know what?
Silence,
I'm
yeah,
upset about?
that's like one. I think that is my favorite song off the album.
Mine. That's mine for sure.
Yeah,
You know what I'm upset about is
What's
I
up,
didn't
Roman?
get to see them live because their
They
the
were
show with We Came as Romans got canceled
Fucking
last-
Canada.
last year because they couldn't get into Canada.
I saw them live. It was so good.
He reiterates, "Fuck Canada."
That's
One
true.
thing,
Fuck Canada.
I don't know if you guys have listened to enough of like mid-late 2000s divorced dad rock to relate to this.
What the
I
heck
feel
is
like
Yeah, yeah, personal
I feel like-
experience or something.
I feel like the cleans on They Don't Know is like, it gives me that same vibe as like 2008 to 2012 like Hinder or acoustic Nickelback, but in a really good
I'm talking
way.
about like
Well,
Incubus,
you know
like
what? I can
Hoobastank, all that
see it.
shit.
Yeah, well, no, not even like softer, like Three Doors Down kind of.
Okay,
I
I'm
can
with
see
you now.
it.
Like
I
that,
can see
for
it.
some reason, the style of the cleans, they reminded me of it. And I love divorced dad rock. So when I was hearing that, I was almost kind of like, the uncleans are good. And when I got out of my divorced dad rock mindset, I was like, okay, yeah, the song's really good. But I was like, no, bring the cleans back. Like, I was vibing. I felt like I was 35 and I just lost half my home. Go back.
I need to see a cage match between divorced dad rock and baddiecore. I'm gonna be real.
Drive chorus just off to the side, just vibing.
Yeah.
Honestly though, I'm super excited for what this band has next. We're probably like 2 or 3 years off of another album, but man, they're going places. This is just the
I hope
beginning.
so, man. I hope
One
so.
day I'll see them live.
Yeah, Sam.
To be fair, I saw them live and I had COVID for like 3 weeks afterwards, so
The bastards have
I
played
paid
in
for
Connecticut
it.
like 3 or 4 times, and I've either been out of state or sick all 4 times. What the fuck? Well, anyways, we got a bunch of EPs and albums to talk about. That's it for the singles this month. A lot of great music to talk about. But for the first time this year, we have a significant number of EPs to talk about. So let's get right into it with Maggie Lindemann and her EP, HEADSPLIT.
Find who you die for. That's who you live for. Tell me now.
We last talked about single Hostage in January, and before that, the debut album Sucker Punch, which I was really fond of.
Very good.
Yeah, really, really good. It was hitting that kind of dark pop meets pop rock sort of sound that I was really getting into in 2022 with the likes of MOTHICA and even Charlotte Sands to an extent. HEADSPLIT, I don't feel like is as consistent, but it has a lot of very similar qualities to Sucker Punch. So I think if you enjoyed Sucker Punch, you are going to find at least a couple of songs to enjoy on here. Standouts for me, Hostage is my favorite on here. I also really enjoyed One Last Time and Die For. Sonically, it's just got that very easy listening, almost radio rock sort of sound. But then you also get some songs on here that are a bit more experimental. Like Deprecating is a really interesting track. Taking Over Me is I don't love Taking Over Me. It has I don't love the Josiah feature, but it's like it has a very different sound to songs like Die For or One Last Time, which feel more mainstream. 24 I didn't love, but overall I think there's if you've enjoyed pop rock like this, and if you listen to Sucker Punch and you liked a lot of songs on there, there's definitely going to be something for you to enjoy here. I was hoping there would be a song on here that I clicked with more than Hostage, because Hostage was such a promising single going into this. And unfortunately, none of the other new songs really held up to Hostage. I still think Hostage is fantastic. But yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about it. Derek just went AFK, so I think I'm gonna wait a second, see if he has any thoughts, and then we're gonna talk about something else. Derek, any last thoughts on Maggie Lindemann? You gave it a
Not
listen.
get to this, unfortunately. I'm gonna have to put it in my listen later. I didn't even realize it dropped, which is my own fault. I was absent when this dropped from new music. My own fault though. It's been a really busy, fucked up
Yeah,
month. I
yeah.
missed a lot of shit. I've had to do a lot of catch up recently, but I promise you I will listen to this within the next like week or so and revert back.
I think you'll find at least a couple of songs on here to enjoy. So,
Dude, Maggie Lindemann's so good. I have no doubt in my mind that
it's interesting with how many numbers she's pulling on. I mean, I'm sure a lot of it is from her older songs and like older features and stuff like that. Like she's at 3.6 million monthly listeners, but I don't feel like she gets talked about nearly that much
no,
for
I'm really
how big she
surprised.
actually is.
Does she have like? Oh wow, she's got so many like consistently high streaming songs. Wow.
Yeah. But I don't like in comparison to an artist like Paris that I feel like is in a pretty similar space.
Mm.
But I feel like I hear way more about Paris and not nearly as many people talking about Maggie Lindemann in kind of our corner of the scene, I guess.
Yeah, very true. Paris has done a great job of building like a brand and hype around it. Maybe I guess it's just like Maggie Lindemann isn't as involved in this side of the scene.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Mhm.
Like there,
But sonically, her music would fit in.
But, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Unequivocally.
But I feel like there's a bridge somewhere that needs to be filled.
Yeah. I almost see her almost in the same vein as like a Charlotte Sands. Like in terms of like they're scene adjacent genre wise, but they don't have that big of a crossover with our common
Right.
scene collabs. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
it's more so alt than scene. I
Yeah,
almost want to
yeah.
say.
Yep, that checks out.
But
Speaking of collabs that are more scene than alt, let's get controversial. Hands Like Houses have released their EP, TROPO.
Under control, everything's alright. No need for concern here. I'm doing just fine.
Which I believe is going to be the first in a series of EPs leading up to an album, because they are already releasing a second EP called Strato, coming out eventually.
okay, so then what's that but that's these are all the prefixes of the spheres for the
Yeah.
Earth, like whatever, right?
It's probably Atmosphere. It's
Troposphere.
probably the album name or
Atmos-
something.
Atmos is the fourth EP. I don't know. Who
So
knows?
So we
Hands
never
Like
talked
Houses
about
made
the
a
last
lot.
we really mentioned Hands Like Houses was in the awards show. We never even talked about Heaven as the first single with the new vocalist in our December recap. We simply let Justin declare Hands Like Houses the biggest fuck up of 2023. Which
no, that was Icy
I
Stars.
stand by it.
That was Icy Stars.
Absolutely.
for Justin, it's fair. Do you guys want me to say my spiel first, or?
You might as well. You're on it.
Okay, so I think this is a really solid EP. And I think Heaven is solid. I think Better Before has a really catchy chorus. Blood Rush has my favorite feature, but I think is the weakest song of the four. And Paradise is probably my favorite song on here. It's the final single for the TROPO EP, or TROPO, however you want to pronounce it. It's probably TROPO. I think the vocal delivery in the chorus of "things are under control, everything is all right, no need for concern here, I'm doing just fine." I love that delivery. Like, genuinely, I think it is sick. And I've gone back to the song a bunch this month. Heaven, I really enjoyed back in December. It's fallen off a little bit. Better Before, when that came out as a single, I also thought that was solid. A lot of these singles did release pretty, like, back to back, so I didn't get a ton of time with each one before a new one came out. So I didn't get to spend a ton of time with each of them before something new came out, and I was like kind of onto the new and leaving the old behind, so to say. But I don't think there's really a miss here. I think it's 4 solid songs. Yes, it is very clearly a new era of Hands Like Houses. It's not the Ground Dweller Dissonance era of Hands Like Houses anymore. And yes, it's more generic, but I don't think they're writing bad music here.
That's what I was gonna say. They're making generic rock, and I don't think it's bad.
It's just not the peaks that Hands Like Houses have reached in the past.
Right. I think
But at the same time,
the name
this
is
is
the problem.
yeah, the name is the problem. The name is very much the problem here. Because I think you put this under a band with like 20,000 monthly listeners, and we're like, holy shit, this is really impressive. You know?
Beat like tense.
All right, I'm out of here.
Let me be the bridge between the Justin and the Jake and the Jacob, because I went into this having not really heard anything. I made jokes about Better Before being like, oh, damn straight they were better before without even listening to the song. I have a metaphor. Hearing Heaven after listening to the Trenton Woodley era is like finding out that like your wife died, right? And then you get to Better Before, and this is the stage where you're still grieving, but you decide to like go on a first date with somebody else who you didn't expect to connect with. And then Blood Rush is like you have the second date, but you put the flowers on your wife's grave beforehand. And then Paradise is the third date didn't work out, but because you put yourself out there, you've accepted that you have to move on from the death of your wife. That's me with this EP. Because Heaven, I still think is just like, I mean, y'all remember Head Rush from like 2020, 2021 with the I'm Inside Your Head, and it was just like horrible. The one Hands Like Houses Miss, in my opinion, was that song, and this reminds me heavily of that. I don't like Heaven at all. I think it's so, it just does nothing for me. But as talented as Trenton Woodley is, the overall instrumental talent in this band, especially their drummer, cannot be understated. And one thing that I was scared about with them taking a more generic rock approach or hard rock as opposed to more post-hardcore was, will those talents still be on display? And I had the pleasure of seeing The Fame, which was Josh, the new vocalist's old band, when they went on tour with Hands Like Houses back in 2018 with Emarosa and Devour the Day. And he was great live, but his voice, for whatever reason, at least on a personal level, like so I could never get into The Fame that much, is it's almost like a Howard Jones for me, in the sense that if it's like a feature, it's great. If I can't take a lot of it at once, it feels very projected out there, a little like in.
Can I interject?
Yes.
It's Howard Jones for divorced dad rock.
I wouldn't call this divorced dad rock.
No, it's not.
This is like
it was a funny
marriage
phrase
counseling dad rock. But no, what I will say is I think that the reason why I liked Better Before and Blood Rush so much is that it has the features to break it up. So I'm just getting like this back and forth great vocal dynamic on top of honestly what's incredible instrumentation. I mean, if they're trying to go with this style and this is the direction that, because they said that there were artistic differences or creative differences between them and Trenton, right? So probably Trenton, it's speculation, but wanted to go one way and the rest of the band wanted to go this way. And you know, they've done a hell of a job with the transition. I wanted to not like this EP, but as I got into Better Before, I was like, all right, I can see the picture. And with Blood Rush, I'm like, okay, now I'm a little bit more convinced. And while Paradise is a little weaker, which ties back into the third date didn't work out thing, if that makes a little more sense now, considering Better Before and Blood Rush are my favorite songs. By the end of the EP, I was like, okay, I see what they're going for here. I get it. I still think that there's some time for them to improve on it greatly. And while it's never going to be post-hardcore era Hands Like Houses again and the absolute pinnacle of the genre that was, and as fantastic of a Trent as a vocalist as Trenton was, like, I see what they're going for here. And instead of being done with this band, I am now actually honestly a little bit invested in it, in the sense that, okay, you've shown me what you can do. If I accept that the band will never be what I want them to be again, I could see myself getting behind this sound and this change. Time will tell with the other EPs if that actually plays out in whatever direction they try to do, but they'll have had more time together and we'll see how the sound evolves from there. But I wanted to be disappointed with this EP, and I was in a sense, but I also wasn't as disappointed as I thought I'd be or as I wanted to be. So I'll take it. Whatever. If Trenton's going to be gone, you better at least give me a couple songs that I can replay, and they did that, so I can only complain so much. Justin, say the things that I feel.
I will admit the instrumentation's all right. I won't complain too much about that. It is the soul of this band is gone, in my opinion. a lot of discussion here is about, generic rock and all that. Honestly, I have other artists for generic rock. I didn't need Hands Like Houses to be another generic rock band. When I go back and listen to their discog, funnily enough, I've been listening to Dissonance. The last 2 weeks, I've been listening to that album, and it just continues to shed a light on why this era of Hands Like Houses is unacceptable, unfortunately, in my opinion. I go back to the lyrics, and I have a couple pulled up. The lyrics from the chorus in Glass House: I was safe, I was brave until the sky collapsed on me. Can you hear the thunder in my chest? Can you hear how heavy lies the air? Let it fall, let it roar, and let it all be swallowed by the storm. Can you hear the thunder in my chest rain down on me? The chorus in A Tale of Outer Suburb, or not the chorus, the bridge, where it starts from "I lost faith, the forest changed," and then like every other line, it changes to where "I've lost heart, the forest guard. I've lost faith, the forest changed. I've lost sight, the forest died." And then toward the end, "The brambles are bare and I'm hollow inside. Each breath rattles like dice in my chest. Each breath gambled, unwinding till death." This is phenomenal Trenton air. Like, Trenton is a poem expert. He posted a lot of his poems on his stories and whatnot, and I feel he was not only the voice of the band, like as the vocalist, but a lot of his influence can be seen in a lot of the older material with the lyricism and the just the tone of everything and the emotion, and it is, in my opinion, lost in this new age. Like, if it was under a new name, great, fine, I can ignore it. Have it be generic rock where if people like it, that's fine. I don't really care. There's other bands that are better. This just does not do it for me. This is a stain on the legacy that they've built, and it's just super unfortunate.
Well,
I'm really glad that Trenton has a new project. Hate the fucking name, but if it gives me Ground Dweller era Trenton with the lyricism that I'm familiar with, then fuck it, I'll go along with the ride. But I've jumped off.
Let me challenge that a little bit though, because I feel like some of the songs here are more well written than a Stranger or Monster or what do I just call it? Say Head Rush. Like, and those were all Trenton era songs.
I think those are from a different era where it was more of the band trying to play more into the scene. I don't think that was just the band doing whatever they wanted. I feel like they had a quota they needed to meet. That's why Anon is just not one of my favorite albums, because
those are three like that's from an album, an EP, and a standalone single 3 years apart, effectively three different projects. Right. So like I feel like on one hand, if Trenton, I agree, was as good as the instrumentation is, and as much as I respect the drummer from this band, I think Trenton is the heart and soul of Hands Like Houses, and I agree with Jacob, that like a new name would do this project good. But I feel like if you're comparing the worst of this to like the most generic era of post-Dissonance, so Anon, the self-titled, and like the couple standalone singles, besides Hurricane, because that was meant to be with Drift at one point, right? Like that's an older song released newer. Like, I don't really see downgrades from songs like The Water and Space and Wired, like lyrically and sonically, from like Tilt and everything, but like if you count Anon onward, is it really that different? Like,
it's different enough to me, unfortunately.
I mean, that's fair.
This is better than Anon, I'd say.
I wouldn't go that far, but I think that it's better than like the worst songs in Anon. I think like Overthinking and Tilt, Through Glass, like I'll clear the 4 songs here, but like it's not. I don't think these are definitively, like, I wouldn't call this a stain on their discography. I would maybe if you're doing it in the sense of like the transition from Trenton and the way that they handled him and the situation, like absolutely. But like sonically, it's almost like a side grade to a lot of what they were doing before, which is why I'm not as mad about it as I thought I would be. Especially after hearing Trenton was gone, like,
and that's perfectly viable. But like Hands Like Houses is the band that like got me into the scene, so I'm a bit more focused on that.
I don't know if there's too much more to say on this one.
Nope.
Maewyn have released their newest EP, When You Get to Heaven.
There was no in between.
You guys know I've been a Maewyn shill for 3 years now.
That's not where I thought you were gonna go with that. I for some reason in my mind I thought you would said, you know, I've seen Heaven before.
You know, Justin, I did the first time I met you.
Oh, you're so sweet.
I'll just hold a little heart up to the screen. No,
Pizza the Dayseeker show is really that good, huh?
This EP is phenomenal.
Yes, fucking thank you. I knew it. I knew I would get you. I had to do it. Fuck.
Dude, I've had February 6th saved since whenever we reviewed it. I've had it saved. I don't remember when that was, but
oh god, I think it was like last August.
It was a long time ago.
Maybe even longer than that. I'm trying to think. Now I'm curious to see how fucked up my sense of time is. Yeah, last August 18th. It's been 8 months, pretty much. Just crazy. This to me is what I've been missing in some aspects from Movements. This is that grungy, emo twinged, post-hardcore rock that I felt Movements pulled off really well on Feel Something and No Good Left to Give. And there were glimpses of this, I thought, too, on Ruckus, don't get me wrong. But like this kind of edgier, darker sound has been missing for me, and I've been able to revisit old Movements material, but I needed something new, and this has just hit that dark kind of tan, gray, gloomy vibe that Movements used to have. And I think lyrically too, as far as I can tell, this is a overarching concept EP about like dealing with loss and grief and being mad at God and religion and people around you, like telling you that the loss is fine because like they're in a better place type of thing. I mean, like Folie de Grandeur in particular is like criticizing religion and the church, and like it does it. It's a little bit edgy lyrically, but it's pulled off in a way that comes off as genuinely like grief-stricken and angry in a way that makes it work. Just the vibe of this and the way that like Palms and Let Me Float are more atmospheric than anything else really kind of creates this, like you're transitioning through scenes and seeing different parts of this, like a death in February 6th and red herring and the initial anger and seeing like the replacement of people in your life that fill the void of that death, and then the things that they're telling you in Folie de Grandeur kind of being a rebellion against those things. Like, no, like this is so stupid, we still lost somebody, like don't tell me to move on, don't tell me to accept that somebody else is trying to take their place. Like I really feel the dark energy in this, and I think that in and of itself is just a fantastic thing to pull off, and something that's really been missing both from Movements and just in general musically from a lot of different groups. It almost reminds me a little bit of Citizen in some ways, but in like, I don't love a lot of Citizen songs, but the ones that I do really like tie in with this. So if you're a fan of Citizen, Movements, like that sort of thing, incredible. More incredible than that, I'm very happy to hear, Jacob, that you liked this a lot and even dubbed it incredible. God bless America. Tell me why.
So I've only listened to this once, but and it was today. But yeah, I really enjoyed like the vibe and how, especially in the closer, how it progresses and like you can feel the emotion in it. Like as as he gets angrier, I guess.
Yeah.
It turns from like a sad to a sad angry.
Yeah, perfectly executed. This band, they were at like a couple hundred listeners before this dropped and before February 6th dropped. They are now at 1,600 monthly listeners. This is my little, like, especially Justin, you've got your small monthly listener bands. This is mine. This is my baby. And I need them to be recognized more, because I feel like this style of music is something that's both widely appreciated and currently missing. So give me more of this. Give me more Maewyn. Whatever I have to do to support this band and bring this out, I will, because this is one of those things that, like, on top of the music being good, just like the overall like project as a whole and the message here is like more developed than a lot of other things that we're seeing theme-wise. So
I'd also like you gave the movements comparison, but I think it's also different than
yeah.
It's like you said, edgy and angry, that not as well as sad. Which
I'd almost be like if movements leaned a little bit more into grunge or Midwest emo
Yeah.
than post-hardcore.
yeah.
And I feel like that too is a fine line to draw, because there's so many fucking Midwest emo bands out there, but fuck me, they're doing great. I have no doubt, unless this year becomes the greatest year for EPs in human existence, I have a feeling that we'll be talking about this one, at least for me, at the end of the year. This is, I didn't even realize that this was dropping until like right before it came out, and I remember listening to it for the first time, and I listened like 4 times in a row, 'cause I just need to absorb this like straight into my bloodstream. Like, I love this. Wonderful, wonderful EP. Justin.
Hi, I got another small band for you that just dropped an EP. We talked about them a while ago. Burn Mona and Lisa are back with their EP, Painfully Aware.
This feeling is contagious. Sickness has me fading into myself. Whoa, don't see a better way.
We've already talked about Glacier House off of this EP. Everything else is new.
For fans of Swancore.
Swancore, fucking Chris Crummett. Chris Crummett actually produced this. So anything in that era, this shit slaps.
I'm not the biggest fan of Swancore, as it is quite well documented at this point. This falls in the same vein as most other Swancore, to where it's fine.
It's
I
fine.
I would almost give it a little bit more of a mathy than like putting it in the same vein as like a Pulses or anything like that. But yeah, if it's Chris Crummett's involved, it's going to sound a certain way. It's inescapable. Like, it's Swancore, it's art. I feel like this does a good job distinguishing itself. I really, really enjoyed Vivid Ties as both a song and closer to the CP. I still think Glacier House is my favorite, which is something that I wasn't hoping for going into this, because as much as I like Glacier House, I'm like, okay, well, what else can this band pull off? And I think that it never really reaches that same height till the very end. Maybe I'm off base in terms of what your favorites are on here, but for me, I felt that the EP took a little while to build into something that was a little bit more unique and identifiable, and I'm left like, it's good. I could definitely see a world where this band goes on to create a project that I love, because the individual parts are all there. It's great vocals, great instrumentals. Like, obviously Chris Crummett's on production. Like, you can only the floor is very high with all those things put together. But for me, it was just something is still missing, and I don't know if it's because this band is a little more young, right? Like, Glacier House was their first song, so they still have plenty of way to go. I think, if nothing else, having said all that, what it boils down to is this is a great place to start. Like this, if you've got
like,
Chris Crummett on your debut EP, like,
there's nothing wrong with this EP at all.
No, not at all.
If you want me to be honest, Glacier House is my third favorite.
Really? What are your first two then?
I don't want to give them. I don't know if I can give them an order, but Fusion Flame and Glass Shade.
Okay, so you didn't have the same kind of problem that I did then, where it
No,
took a little
no,
longer to build. Like you were like in it.
Yeah, no, like it's ever since this EP is dropped, like honestly, they all worked fairly well together. I really liked the vibe that Glass Shade had. Kind of going back to it, I think it may be my favorite, just because you've got a very slow, consistent mathy build that kind of incorporates a bit more rock instrumentals into it, kind of slowly throughout. With it being nearly the longest track on the EP by like a minute or a second, I still think this is probably one of the easiest songs to get into on the EP, if not Glacier House. Fusion Flame is just, it's got a lot of breath of fresh air when it comes to math rock, in my opinion. I feel like it's kind of like a blend of Dance Gavin Dance and Home Team, if I want to say. Like, it's very energetic in its feeling and style, but it also creates its own identity, I feel like.
That's fair. Yeah.
I feel like if we had these individually, maybe they would have stood out a little bit more. So maybe if Fusion Flame dropped on its own, like this is one of the few times where I feel like singles probably would have helped a little bit more instead of just dropping the entire EP as its own, because it's a lot of the kind of same familiar math sound. I feel like you give me Glacier House, maybe Fusion Flame, and then like Glass Shade just before the EP drop, I feel like that would have been a very steady incline into what you're getting. But all in all, it's super solid. I really liked Pro-Am and how it built into the EP without overstaying its welcome. I feel like it's a really good taste for any of those that aren't quite too into math rock but want to try and give a band a chance. I think it's a really good start. That way, before Fusion Flame starts and the like bulk of the EP goes in, you have that opportunity to say maybe it's not for me, or maybe I'll give it a bit more when the actual influence starts to seep in. All in all, like a super good talent for such an up and coming band.
Yeah, I don't really have too much. That's why I've been very quiet. It's just got that math rocky swancore sort of sound that I don't typically really ever have too much to comment on. I will say, Fusion Flame got a pretty cool animated music video that's worth checking out if you guys haven't.
That was
seen
really good.
I haven't seen it, so I'll have to check it out after this.
Yeah, because
why it took so long.
Yeah, when I saw this was in the playlist, usually what happens whenever there's a song in these playlists that I haven't heard before, I check to see if there's a music video and see if that'll add something to it. And Fusion Flame had a cool animated music video, so I wanted to give that a shout. That takes us to our albums for the month. We got, I believe, 6 albums to talk about. Let's get started. Yeah, we still got a ways to go. Artio have released their debut album, Babyface. I have been keeping this band not so secret in our Discord chat, but have not mentioned them on the podcast yet. I've been waiting for the album to come out before we discuss them in any capacity. And I am very hit or miss on some songs on this album. But my god, the songs that hit are fucking incredible. And Derek, I know you said a little something about this album being better than you expected in the chat yesterday, I believe, or the other day, earlier this week, I don't know. So I'm curious to hear what you have to say on this.
This band is cooking. This is what my assessment was, and I really enjoy this kind of new generation of Gen Z rock that we're starting to see now. I think that Guts by Olivia Rodrigo was probably one of the biggest examples of that in the mainstream.
Yep.
But there's a very general, I feel like, a trend in people ages like 19 to 24 that are creating their first projects or songs in this sort of genre, where they just don't give a fuck. And I think that while the lyricism is at times a little on the nose, they sell it with how much of a fuck they don't give.
Yep.
Having said that, there was, I think Sertraline on here was a little too straightforward for me. And that is my one and only gripe with this album. This, instrumentally, at least for my own personal taste, maybe one of the best albums I've heard all year.
Yeah, I'm totally right there with you. Some of the instrumentation on this album is like, why have I not heard anything that sounds anything like this anywhere else before? Because it's so fucking sick. Like, especially on songs like Head in the Sand, Finger on the Trigger, Wallflower, and Temple. Like, where has this electronic-infused rock been? And why is no one else doing it?
I need more of it. I feel like here's what I really appreciate about this band is I feel like, you know, there is a gap that Icy Stars could fill if they so chose, but they've given up on us. So realistically, I think the closest thing that I've heard to this was Treehouse. That was that consistent across the albums. I feel like artists will delve into, I'll throw some electronic elements in here and there, but you know, I'm gonna play it safe and we'll keep it. They commit to it fully.
They fully commit, yeah.
And it is so well done and well executed and well produced that
No, it just came back to me. Sorry to cut you off there. But
Yeah.
Pendulum.
Yes, this is very Pendulum-esque, instrumentally at least.
Yeah.
What I really, my biggest gripe going through this with the first like 5 songs was I was like, okay, lyrically, like it's a little iffy. You know, I already mentioned Sertraline, but I'm like, it's not great, it's not bad, it's just there. I really appreciated it as they went on to I'm So Sorry and Wallflower that we kind of leveled up thematically and lyrically a little bit to where you get to You're Not My Home, You're an Arsonist, You Set My House on Fire.
Yeah, that triple threat is very powerful back to back to back.
Yeah, lyrically, the song titles, the way it ties in. I really appreciated the way that Wisdom Teeth tied into Baby Teeth lyrically and both, again, with the song names. And it makes it loop really well.
Yeah.
And I feel like this album's one of its biggest strong suits is its replayability. Because not only are there moments on here instrumentally where you're like, oh, fuck yeah, this is great. But it's all the songs almost in the vein of a Stan Atlantic. Maybe they're longer than most Stan Atlantic songs are, but they keep the vibe going and they're punchy and they're upbeat and they make you want to replay it. So when you go back in, you're like, fuck yeah, give me that second listen. Give me that third listen. Like there's no other band that I can think of right now that are doing electronic infused rock, like we mentioned, this consistently, this straightforward, and this well. And this is a debut album, right?
Yes.
As far as like let's be so for real here. If they only have time, I mean, it's our generation more or less, unless I don't know. Justin and Jacob, are you guys millennials?
Bro, I don't fucking know.
It's a gray area.
It's a gray
I don't know what fucking Gen Z is anymore.
I'm 97. That's all.
97. Okay, you're Gen Z. You're the very first year. Congratulations, you're not a boomer yet.
Yeah, I'm 97 as well, so Gen Z.
Perfect. That means that these guys, as far as I know, are like, I don't know, I think my age. 23.
They're in their like younger 20s.
Okay.
Millennials is like 28 to 43.
So all that to say that like they have growing up to do, and as they do it, they can still keep the same energy, but the lyrics are going to continue to mature. To me, that is the only weak point on this album is lyrics. Like vocally, I love her vocals. I love the way they incorporate some like the backing male vocals every once in a while to give a little bit. It's almost like if Hot Milk included electronics and toned down on the male vocals and like shifted them back, and like it's got that same energy to it, that same vibe. I was very surprised by this. I really liked Wallflower.
I really was not sure what you would think of this.
This is great.
I'm very happy to see that you've enjoyed this, because I was pretty quiet about this like coming up to it, but with every single that released, particularly from Wallflower onwards, like my excitement for this album just kept on growing. The instrumentation is so sick, and I as much as I appreciate the slower songs towards the back half that lean less into the electronic and more into the emotional delivery of just like conveying the story of the album. I would love to hear a 10-track no interlude album with songs like 10 songs that sound very similar to Wallflower and Head in the Sand, you know? Just that instrumentation is so unbelievably sick. And like the guitar tone, the electronics, the drums as well, but really it's that guitar tone and the electronic synths that carry the instrumentation here and really make Babyface stand out as an album.
This is along with three other albums that dropped this month, is in my top 5 albums of the year currently. And I think that with some more time with it, I could easily see this being a top 10 contender for me, or at least the runner-ups, because this style is exactly what I want from rock at this point, and it's done so well.
I would highly recommend checking out the Pyro Kid EP, which they released last year.
Perfect. Done deal.
I think this is generally better, but it has very similar qualities.
It's the easiest okay I will of my life.
Product of My Own Design especially is a really sick song, hence why it's their most popular. Pulling the most numbers on Spotify. So I highly recommend that one, but the whole Pyro Kid EP is really solid. And yeah, it's very impressive debut album. From a debut album to very much not a debut album, band that we have been tossing and turning over the years about whether we actually like them or not. Blind Channel have dropped their, I believe, 5th studio album, if I'm not mistaken. Number 5, yeah. Exit Emotions.
Fucking wild. That's 5th.
Yeah. Derek, I'm assuming you didn't get to this one?
I did not. I'm waiting to hear whether or not I should.
It is about
I will
fucking
not be
time.
listening to this.
It is about fucking time that Blind Channel have stuck the landing.
They did it?
They've
been waiting for years.
They have stuck the
Fucking
landing.
go. Listen later 24, baby. There we go.
This is everything I have wanted a Blind Channel album to be for the past 8 years.
Yeah, ever since what was their first one called? Was it Brothers?
No, Blood Brothers.
Blood Brothers. There we go.
Yeah.
That was the second one.
Mm-hmm.
That was and still is like one of my go-tos.
Yeah. Blood Brothers is definitely
style.
Their second best album behind this, I would say. But like, there's the singles for this album were very promising, but so have all the singles for all their other albums. Like, think back to Violent Pop, or Lifestyles of the Sick and Dangerous, especially with Dark Side and Balboa as singles for that album. Like, those songs are both incredible. Exit Emotion similarly had a really strong set of singles going into it with Flatline, Dead Zone, and Happy Doomsday. But the non-singles actually stick the landing and are really fun and enjoyable. Where's the Exit is a really incredible opener, in a similar vein to Overdrive by Normandy. I think it just gets right into it. It's really fast-paced. And given the album is titled Exit Emotions, having the opening song be Where's the Exit, and just like, it's setting the tone for kind of lyrically what the rest of the album is going to be talking about. And yeah, Justin, if you have anything you want to say now, I'll leave it to you.
Yeah, funnily enough, for me, the singles didn't do this album justice. I feel like a lot of the non-singles for me did really, really good. My favorite in this is Red Taillights.
Interesting. Okay, that's probably one of my lower songs on the album.
That has a really good energy to it, in my opinion. All the ones that I saved were Not Your Bro, though I fucking hate that name. Phobia, Wolves in California, and One Last Time Again. And I think One Last Time Again is probably my second favorite.
It's definitely a step up from their last album, Closer, for sure.
I agree. Again, I feel like the singles were probably the weakest part of this album, in my opinion. I feel like they really didn't do anything for me when they were dropping. But as I gave this album more and more attention, I really, felt like they took them fucking long enough, but I
Yeah.
really feel like they hit their mark with what
Mhm.
they were trying to do in this sound, and they finally did it.
Yeah, I don't know how else to explain it other than like this is one of those albums where I listened to it front to back and it just made sense. Everything about the album clicked, everything made sense. The flow from track to track felt really good. It didn't feel, there was never a transition from song to song that felt jarring compared to some of their last albums. And yeah, this is definitely the album I spent the most time with in March. And I'm gonna say it's not close. And that might be a little rude given the next album we have to talk about, but that's just me being real. This album had me hooked the entire month. I also want to give a shout out to XOXO featuring From Ashes to New, coming off of a top 10 album of last year, and they absolutely nailed the feature here as well. Getting From Ashes to New on this album right after, in my opinion, From Ashes to New have hit their peak and really hit their stride is something that I was really excited to see. My two favorite non-singles, Where's the Exit and Keeping It Surreal. Where's the Exit I've already talked about, but Keeping It Surreal has a really fun chorus, but the verses are super emotional, particularly with the vocal delivery of how to feel hopeful, how to feel something at all, and then just like a murmured like tell me before it gets into the chorus. Just really great. I mean, yeah, this is I know last month when we talked about Amaranth, I said that it's like this is what it feels like to fall out of love with your favorite band. If you told me Blind Channel would be releasing a better album than Amaranth in the year 2024, I would not have believed you until this album came out.
Yeah, funny enough for being like one of the albums we've talked about. Like, there isn't much more to say.
Yeah,
More than we're finally glad that Blind Channel did a good
They did a good. I'm excited to hear
in
it.
sentence. Derek,
Too Close to Touch have dropped their final album, For Keeps.
Not okay.
Which is a bittersweet thing to say, because on one hand it's the final album, but on the other hand we actually got
a final album.
whole albums worth of material, you know, that to know that this is it and there's like nothing else out there. Like, we got to hear the full scope of what Keaton had to offer and be able to take that forward into what will hopefully be a long life of appreciating his music in place of him dying young. And I really, really, really like most of the songs on here. I mean, it's hard not to when you have songs like Novocaine, Disappear, Hopeless. Really, I almost don't even consider this an album, even though I feel like Novocaine is an incredible opener and they don't even know is a closer. Because Hurt Reynolds and Designer Decay are both produced by, I believe, Elijah Witt from Cane Hill, which is why the Cane Hill feature's on there. So they sound a little different than the rest of the songs on here, which are all produced by Eric Ron. You know how I feel about Eric Ron. You know, I would buy that man a drink every night if I could, to show him like, hey, you know. And so I see this more as a collection of songs than an album, and a way to, you know, it's for Keaton to share with everybody, for Keaton's legacy. Like, having said that, I don't love Designer Decay or Hurt Reynolds, which feels bad because I want to, but I feel like when you have songs on here that are this good and this well produced, the other ones just sound a little muddled. So it's like, you know what, whatever. Once I got over that and was like, this is just a collection of songs, I'm worried too much about, you know, it being an album when I should just be sitting here appreciating Keaton's legacy. It made all of them much, much better, even the ones that I already thought were fantastic.
You know, I feel like I didn't know that about what was it, Hurt Reynolds and Designer Decay. I guess I
Mhm.
kind of figured it with Designer Decay, but my I had a whole thing planned, but
Oh yeah.
because I feel the same way about this album as I do about Dude 2. It's just okay.
Yeah,
Um,
it's not great as an album, but I
Yeah,
think it's
but
an album in
it's not. Yeah,
name
you're right.
only.
It's not
Yeah.
supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's yeah. It's unreleased songs that they had, or they got their friends on for Keaton.
For keeps.
I mean, that's what it should be, man. And for what it's worth, like I feel almost bad saying anything bad about Hurt Reynolds and Designer Decay. And truth be told, they're not even bad. It's just it's less for me than the Eric Ron sound is, and I think it's because that was my first introduction to this band, and that's what I hold dearest to my heart. But everything here is just really well executed, and I think something that's a little unsung about this is the fact that between a more acoustic sound like Heavy Hearts or a heavier one like Designer Decay, you get the full range of Keaton's voice.
Yep.
And that to me is the biggest bow on this whole project, is the fact that there's nothing like the fact that this is every unreleased song, the fact that it's the full range of his voice top to bottom, that this really was like Keaton encapsulated in a project. And so it's just the perfect final send-off. He's got 3 of his, as far as I understand it, closest friends, especially with Noah and Telly, like huge vocal influence on them. Like they're sharing this last final thing with
Even
him.
the Death of Peace of Mind's album cover is influenced by
right? Like it's even so many bands just too close to touch, and Keaton especially, the unsung, well, hopefully more sung now. I mean, Too Close to Touch is at over 1 million monthly listeners now, which is just so fucking absurd to me. But you know, the fact that this final project, this send off, this again encapsulation of what he could do, brought the band twice as popular as they were before, got Novocaine trending, like more of the world.
More than they were like 200, weren't they?
They were
Like
I think
5 times.
Yeah. Well, no. They were, but well, I guess maybe after Novocaine. I want to say before Novocaine, they were at around 400,000. They got a lot from Sympathy being played live.
That's
a
true.
lot of fans went back, and anyway,
It's
I
the
just
most good song.
yeah. Well, that was how I found them too, because it was on song radios for like Issues and I Prevail back in 2018. So, but yeah, it's just it hurts, but it's good to know that there's nothing left unsaid, that this was everything, and it's just a send off. It's like you put a picture of him in a paper boat, you know, and pushed it out to sea type of thing. Like it's a memorial. And for it being a memorial, it is probably the best send-off that I could have ever asked for, that they could have given.
We didn't deserve a send-off either.
No,
Yeah.
no, fuck no. I fully expected to never get one. And I think that was one of the first thoughts that hit me when I found out Keaton died, because I couldn't touch their music for months. And I was like, you know, I imagine it's been a while. There's probably a lot of unreleased stuff, and I might not ever get to hear it. I might not get to hear Keaton again, like anything new. Like his voice is so special that I was like, fuck. Like, and there are plenty of artists like Garrett Garfield who we'll never get to hear if there's anything else. We'll never know. So that finality to know and to get to hear it and to experience it is just really something special. I can't view it as an album. It's a collection of songs that acts as a memorial, and in that capacity, it's the best possible outcome that I could have ever hoped for. And it makes me really happy. I can only imagine how much it makes the bandmates happy. I know there's that interview I want to go watch, but it makes me happy to know that so many other people are able to share in that. You know, it's one big community now gathering together behind one of the greatest vocalists, in my opinion, that's ever lived, to honor his life and his work. And it's just really, really special. So I'm sorry for rambling, by the way. Like, you guys,
No, you deserve to
Just-
ramble.
This
You
was
deserve
your
it.
band, brother.
Man, fuck me.
Put Derek Pog on the screen.
If there was ever a moment for you to go on a ramble rant about a band, it's Too Close to Touch.
I'm sad, but I'm happy. Novocaine, far and away the best song I've heard all year,
Yes.
by the way.
Yeah.
That Noah feature, ugh.
Yeah, I have
Gut
the lyrics
wrenching,
written down for that
beautifully
Noah
done.
feature if you wanted me to say it
Yeah,
real
yeah,
quick.
go.
If you still want to sing, fill in the blanks we need. You can do it through me while you're gone. In time, the price of peace will cost us everything, but all the love you leave carries on. So you can sing while
Gee.
you're away. Tell me the words you want to say. Give them to me and I'll relay. But no, it just won't be the same.
I'm sad that you
Well, why aren't we reviewing this one last?
It's all right, we got some.
I will
happy
also
albums
mention
after.
that after all that, fucking Designer Decay, I think, is my favorite.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's
I would
been
not have
for some
anticipated
reason it's been the one that I've been going back to the most, and I don't know why.
For me, it's the first two tracks, Novocaine and Disappear.
Novocaine is also real good. I think I had Disappear and Control as my most played on there as well.
Yeah, Novocaine and Control for me are the standouts, but everything here is just, even the ones that I'm not as high on, it's still like, again, when you have Keaton, the floor is very high, and it's just it's not a sound I'm used to with them, which has kind of left me like, okay, I'm still in my figuring out the grieving process. Give me the Eric Ron. I have no doubt that in a couple of months, I'll go back to him and be like, wow, what the fuck was I thinking? Like, yeah, just very, very happy about this. Very sad about this, but very happy about this.
I feel like we've talked very generally about this album. Are there any specific moments in any of these songs that we want to highlight real quick?
The scream
Because-
before the instrumental bridge in Hopeless.
Yes. That's definitely worth reiterating.
The isolated scream at the final chorus of Novocaine,
hmm
but I won't change.
I mean, just
that.
the chorus in Novocaine in general, the trying
Oh.
to feel like I'm alive. Just so powerful with Keaton's vocal delivery.
I guess that's one thing across like a lot of the songs on here that he really is able to convey is like you can hear how much he was struggling, but managed to still put out something that described that. Like you feel what he was going through before he passed in these songs and in the way he delivers it. It's like it's just such a unique voice and ability to do that, which consistently over the past since 2015, like nine whole years, or I guess 7, but hurts to think about. Yeah. Wow. Anything else before we move to some happier albums?
I don't got anything else to say.
This will be the last time we review Too Close to Touch.
Man, don't say that. Fuck you. I know it, but you didn't have to say it. Even though I said final album to start.
We talked about some other thing. That's like a year ago we talked about it, but I don't know if we'll ever do it. Anyway.
Justin.
Let's kick up the energy on this. We got Makari with their new album, Wave Machine.
Yo, we're at the pool. Wave
This
machine.
is my album of the month.
I think that's a very fair assessment.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would be Makari, because honestly, like Makari were one of those bands that I just couldn't get into for whatever reason. Ever since Hyperreal dropped, like it feels like they've been kind of hidden and missing in some shape or fashion. But when Breakers dropped and I knew that the album was coming on, I was like, I'm gonna hold off on the rest of the album and come into this with a clear mind. And fuck, this album is really, really good. Like top to bottom.
I like this a lot more than Transient, or it's Hyperreal. Hyperreal.
Yeah, Hyperreal was their last album. This is their sophomore album.
What I really appreciated about this more than Hyperreal is I feel like, well, Hyperreal is just generally a very good album. It's very samey across the board, and it becomes hard to distinguish a lot of the songs from each other. Whereas with this, I feel like a lot of the songs have their own unique identity, and I really appreciate them giving a little bit of edge on songs like Deteriorate, Soul Stealer, Breakers, and Eternity Leave in particular, I think are incredible. Same with Soul Stealer, Deteriorate.
Those are my three favorites.
Well, there we go.
Thrown in closer in there as well, because that's all really good.
Closer was my least favorite song on the album, I have to say. I also had the very distinct pleasure of not hearing any of these songs as singles, so I got the full album experience, and I'm very happy that I did. I think that they're really onto something here. It's always been a little more... What I've really enjoyed about Termina and Monuments is that sometimes in the past, Andy's cleans have been like a little much for me to hear consistently. Like I felt like they were a little one-noted, and I think maybe it was the production on Hyperreal. I don't know. But here, I don't feel that at all. I really enjoy the way that they were able to use the full extent of his vocal range of his clean vocal range, I should say. I mean, he's just... I feel like still somehow slept on as one of the most talented vocalists in the scene. Like,
if you go, he uploaded a vocal one take of Eternity Leave and Soul Stealer, and you can definitely see like how much his vocals have changed throughout his entire career as a musician. Like that that last chorus in Soul Stealer, chills.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. That was where I was really sold. I was kind of back and forth because, tracks 2 through 4 didn't really do it as much for me. And then I was loving 5 through 7. I was like, all right, show me something. And I got Soul Stealer. I was like, yep, okay, I'm in.
Sold. Yeah.
Just awesome. Awesome. A huge improvement, a full utilization of the band's talent. I also want to give a shout out to And Now We Sleep in Endless Ocean. I think it is a fantastic song, and especially closer. I think Eternity Leave is a weaker opener than And Now We Sleep in Endless Ocean is as a closer, but having heard the whole album, Eternity Leave really is a good encapsulation of everything that you'll hear. Like, it would be like the median of everything that this has to offer.
This is spoilers for how I think of the last two albums, but this month I think is the month with the most consistent closers that we've had in a while. This is really hard to get a lot of good closers.
I would say so. At least out of the ones that I heard. Yeah, I agree. I honestly, this is one of the, in my opinion, better months that we've had in a long time. I know that I saw Jake and Jacob talking earlier. They were like,
April.
Can we
April
just get
is gonna
April
be
already?
I do kind of just want to talk about April already, but March was a good month. There is a lot of good stuff in March.
Yeah, I'm very, very happy with this.
This is another Makari release that I enjoyed it for the most part, but nothing really stuck with me. I added a good chunk of this album to my playlist, but never really went back to it.
That's fair. I really think that the amount, and I know you haven't been as high on them, but like the amount that I've listened to Termina and Monuments have really given me time to adapt to his cleans in a way that makes me enjoy.
It's more the instrumentation for me, I think.
Really? Well, yeah. I guess. I don't see this kind of instrumentation as something that you would generally be pretty interested in.
Yeah, same.
So that makes sense.
Like, I liked Eternity Leave a lot. I liked Soul
it's
Stealer a lot. But even then, I only listened to them a couple of times, and it's just like, I know I like those songs because I remember listening to them for the first time and being like, wow, this is better than I remember Makari being, and then add it to my playlist, and then next band releases a single and I'm like, ooh, shiny, and don't go back to Makari. But like,
No,
this
I
is my
think-
playlist, and if it shows up in the shuffle, I'm not going to complain about most of this album. Like, this is a very consistent experience across the board. It's just not a sound that I'm particularly in love with. Good, not great. That's kind of where I'm at.
I think if nothing else this month, definitely this album included has the most potential growers for me and the most potential like sleeper top 10 album of the year picks. Justin, would you like to tell us about this next one?
I feel like I've been talking to them for years.
Right?
We got FLOYA, fucking Phil Bayer, and Marvin Buckwilder. They have finally capped off their album Yume, with the entire package with Yume dropping as the sole new song. There was a couple that we didn't talk about, but all in all, the album is completed package. And man, if there was any band to follow Makari as like one of the higher, more energetic, feel good bands, FLOYA, and just everything that Phil Bayer and Marvin are doing on this, it's phenomenal. The instrumentation on all of these songs.
A FLOYA Makari tour would make so much sense.
FLOYA toured with Siamese recently, and that sounded pretty good from what I heard. My favorite FLOYA song as of the album, I stopped listening consistently to FLOYA songs since Epiphany dropped, and maybe even Weaver. I didn't remember Weaver all that much when I listened to it. But when I listened to this album as a whole, and I got to Lights Out, I ascended. That is the best FLOYA song ever produced, and it's not even close. The emotion, the energy on this, like, apparently it was played live too, and just hearing that live would be amazing. Just the lyricism and everything, it's all just so good. FLOYA did an incredible work on everything here. The chorus in Lights Out, cut the lights, I feel my armor wearing thin, in their eyes I'm petrified, entombed inside of my own skin for all time. And then the second verse, drawn the line, I've stepped into the cage, how can I let go of all this rage? Still making up these stories of a man who's lost most of his love. Time will heal it all away, alive, but on my knees. Oh, the lights keep haunting me. There's so many more bits and pieces of the album, but I feel like I have to talk about Lights Out as being like my all-time favorite. Even going back to the stuff that I enjoyed more frequently, like Wonders, Stay, and Fluorescent. Like, all in all, FLOYA knocked this album out of the park. That is to say, I don't think it's got the lasting power for me, admittedly. I think it's all really good as its own separate package, minus the few that I mentioned. I feel like it's more enjoyed as within its own self-contained box. I feel like as each individual single, I don't know if they're gonna last.
This is my album of the month.
Yo, let's go.
I for some reason wasn't very high on these. I'm the opposite, Justin. I wasn't high on a lot of these singles, but when I get into this and the overall soundscape that FLOYA create here, I mean, we've always sung praises about how it feels like you're drifting through the clouds and it's a sunny day and everything's super peaceful. And I honestly feel like the album art for this really encapsulates that too. The whole overall vibe of this album. Man, this almost, to me, feels like you took guitars and put them over like summer house music. Like, it's got that kind of, I don't know if you guys ever listened to those big pop hits back in like 2013, 2014 from Calvin Harris that were all like summer anthems. This to me feels
Yeah.
like you took rock and combined it with those, and it's just such a happy, elated feeling from start to finish that for me it does have that staying power, because like if I'm in a good mood or as we approach summer, like it's the perfect album for that sort of thing.
I
Yeah.
am
Go.
excited to listen to this. Like, I haven't listened to it, but you guys are
You're in
selling
for a
it pretty
treat.
well.
Yes.
It is
Is this a
genuinely
Windows down
incredible.
kind of?
Yes.
Yes.
Because I'm
Unequivocally.
not kidding. Today was the first day of Windows down weather for me.
Yeah, it was so nice today. It
If
really
I ever
was.
had to name a 2024 Drivecore album, this is it.
I think this might be the Windows Down album. If I like had to pick one, not like necessarily my favorite of all the ones I would drive to, but this is the one that I feel front to back is the best example of a breezy, warm, like summer day. It's
I
just,
don't know
it's like a
of
warm
any.
hug.
I don't know of any other releases coming out this year that could really challenge that call.
Make them suffer.
Maybe if it's really hot out. And
I mean, your windows would be down because at that point they would have exploded by the
by the sixth breakdown in the second
Yes.
song. No, I really did not have any expectations going into this, and I liked this enough to pay the 20 euros of shipping to get it over, like a vinyl over here. Like this is like the second vinyl.
yeah, I need to get my. You remind me. I need to get my CD. I just got my Galleons one yesterday. I need to get my CD of this.
No, this is genuinely like just a statement of happiness. It's wonderful.
Yeah, so Jake doesn't like it.
Yeah, I haven't listened to this, and I haven't listened to any FLOYA songs since we stopped talking about the singles, so my bad.
No, I haven't either. And so that, you know what, that made it all the much better for me, because I just got to sit back and go, oh, like there's not I won't say it's like a flawless album, but what I do like about it is the way that it keeps the same energy without feeling too samey. So there's still ups and downs, but you want to be along for the ride because it's just that much of an experience and a vibe. This, out of all the albums that we talked about like this month or will talk about, I think this, if it stays the way that I think it will, is probably the most likely to make it in my top 10 at the end of the year. Like, it's genuinely very, very incredible. I loved this. No other album like it out there.
Before we cap off FLOYA, I just want to mention Lights Out again because that fucking guitar solo made me remember or reminded me that fucking Marvin and his instrumentals all throughout this album are some of the best of any duo pairing that I have heard. Marvin's got a very, very specific sound that I don't think anyone else can do. You can definitely hear it in Vertigo by Valiant Hearts because he's got a fucking guitar solo in that. And it's ever so prevalent all throughout this album, just how much of an influence that sound does for this type of music, and it's also good. You are not going to be disappointed, Jacob.
I hope not.
Jake, you will.
I feel like I might give this album a listen at some point, but I feel like given my stance
It's too
on the
happy for you. I know
singles-
you're not going to like it.
No, I feel like
It's
even if I
too
give
bad.
this album a chance, I'm gonna go in with with a negative connotation and just like disregard it from the start, and that's like a mental problem I have. I wish
Yeah,
there was a way
it
that
is.
I wish there was a way I could go back in time and never have listened to a FLOYA song, and then maybe I'd be able to give it a fair shot. But I just don't see myself being able to give this album the chance it deserves.
You know,
Such
I
a
kind of thought the same. I would still give it a try. I think the one, if you didn't like the Makari album instrumentals, you may not like this, but I also know that you have experience with EDM.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of delves into that.
Yeah.
Did you ever get into Tropical House at all when that was a big thing?
I was not a big fan of Tropical House.
Okay, then maybe you won't like the sound.
Yeah, I'm like I know this album. It's just too happy for Jake. Unfortunately, I don't think it's gonna stick with him.
What's up?
It's fine. He can talk more about this album that I definitely did not like.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, okay. To copy what Derek said. If Not For Me have dropped their sophomore album, Everything You Wanted.
'Cause I can't fight this by myself. With your hands around my throat, watch me fly like joy. I can't.
This is their second?
This is their second
I didn't know
album.
that. I did not know that.
Yep. And I have waited so long to talk about this one. Feel Me Now might be one of the most underappreciated songs of last year.
Yeah, you're totally right. That's by far the best song on this album.
Yeah, it's
and
not.
it's
It is
even
like
close.
I get vibes of Dial Tone by Catch Your Breath from Feel Me Now.
Oh, you just ruined it for me.
Not in the sense that like, because Feel Me Now actually has a breakdown.
In popularity,
Like Feel Me Now should be the breakout song in the same way that Dial Tone was. It is that fucking good.
I feel like it did get traction because
it kind of did, but I still don't feel like it's gotten
Not as
enough.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, how did I not let this end up in my Spotify Wrapped last year? Is fucking criminal. It's that chorus of "With Your Hands Around My Throat, watch me while I choke." It's "Pray for Us." It's just, oh my, it's so fucking catchy. And then the breakdown as
strings.
well. And yeah, there are some strings. The instrumentation, the riffs are sick. Feel Me Now is quite possibly the best album opener I've heard all year. Actually, I would have to look through them all again, but tentatively I'm saying Feel Me Now is best album opener of the year, and probably not close.
Novocaine.
Okay, maybe.
Bro,
maybe.
no way you say it's better than Novocaine.
If I have to be so for real, Feel Me Now is a bottom 2 song on this album.
No.
That's
no.
so wrong.
But it is still really good, which shows how consistently strong this album is.
See,
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about this album. I know we're supposed to tell about our feelings on albums here, but I don't know how I feel about this album.
You're very like 50-50. Like some songs are good, some don't do anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I need more time with it.
Mhm.
Like, I've only listened to the album once, and I've listened to Feel Me Now a bunch. Like, I've had that in my playlist since like January, honestly. So that's when I found the song.
So, beyond Feel Me Now, let's talk about the other songs on this album. Another song we didn't get to talk about is singles Demons, track 4. Nearly put it into our, I want to say, June recap last year. It was the lead single for this album. And another song, very similar to Feel Me Now, with really sick opening riff, fantastic chorus, sick breakdown. I think Feel Me Now just does all of that just even better. The standout new song for me here, though, is track 5, I Don't Want to Be Here. Derek, did you enjoy that song at all?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I enjoyed everything on this album.
I Don't Want to Be Here is the rare trope of metalcore scene song that follows an EDM song structure, and I fucking love it. Where the chorus is like a build into like a drop, but with guitars. And it's so good. The No More Waiting, I'm Tired of the Rise and Fall, just like You Never Cared at All. And then you get the sick riff with some synths behind it. It's so good. It's definitely the song I've gone back to the most, excluding the singles. But other than that, like, the other new songs on here are really good as well. Lost Cause, The Wait, and Tragedy. Tragedy is the closer, is really solid. This is a very consistent metalcore album, front to back. If you like, I kind of want to call it generic metalcore, like with more elements of post-hardcore. It's not like Wage War type metalcore. If you think back to like some of Wage War's older albums, anyway, not the new stuff. It's like, it's post-hardcore meets metalcore, but it's not like full-out aggressive metalcore.
It's bands influenced by Bad Omens.
It's Until I Wake. But
it's the successor to Until I Wake.
I think that this band only has up to go from here, I hope, because the thing that makes it, if you even can call it generic, because I think there are some things on here that really kind of keep their own identity and are just, more, they're done well.
Just need to be fleshed out.
Yeah, I think the biggest And it bothers me because it's Demons for me is my biggest issue with this album, and not in the sense that the chorus I think is the catchiest chorus on here. I get it stuck in my head all the time. I've listened to this album I think like 5 or 6 times at this point. It's just there's so many themes on here that I feel like have been done to hell and back.
That's true.
That's what makes it feel more generic. Isn't necessarily the sound. I mean, like there are a lot of bands that have done this sort of sound, but you know, it's still good. I don't feel like it's been done to death. It's just some of the lyrical content is like, okay, I've heard this before done in this sort of style. Like you're doing it well, but you're not adding anything new to it. That's the one big drawback from this album. I think the quality of these songs in terms of like whether or not they're good, you know, the instrumentation, the vocal delivery, like great. Better than a lot of bands doing this sort of thing that are bigger, in my opinion. Like especially the clean vocals on here are in particular really, really strong. Mm-hmm. Not to say that the uncleans aren't, but to me that was the highlight of this album. It's just I'm left wanting a little bit more. I want a little bit more depth. I want them to explore like a concept. Like I feel like the pieces are there for them to be capable of it, so let them take it to the next level. To me, this is not that next level. It's a great, extremely solid starting point that is going to end with me putting 8 out of 10 of these songs in my playlist and having this be one of my go-to albums for if I'm like doing work or something. Like, don't get me wrong, it's very solid, but I need something a little more, and it isn't there. This to me feels like a step up from that Palisades album from last year, but a step down from, say, a Windwalkers. Like it's almost there. It's got. It's all
funny
because
I was gonna say like I made the Windwalkers comparison of like Dark Horse potential for some band last episode. I think maybe in January. But this, if not for me, album has that like Windwalker's Dark Horse top 10 contender type of energy where it probably just falls short of my top 10, but it's still very fucking good.
I would be genuinely surprised if this doesn't end up somewhere in at least my top 20. It's still a great album.
I put this more in the in the realm of Catch Your Breath, in my opinion.
Yeah,
they're very similar, actually. Like I know I made the joke earlier, but no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I'm glad you said that because I wanted to make this point when I first listened to it and I forgot about it. This is what the Catch Your Breath album should have been, in my opinion. I think that Catch Your Breath album was too long and overdone, and I feel like this feels more like a proof of concept that the Catch Your Breath album could have been. I think the peaks of that album are stronger than the peaks here, but like this is a really well done 10-track. Like if I had to make a list or ranking of all the like 10-track post-hardcore albums out there, like I feel like this is up there. You know, like it's really strong. I don't know. I feel weird because I feel like I have more negative than positive to say, but it's only because this album is so good that I feel like it could be something more, you know?
My opinion is I think the things that this album does well are very easy to just say, like, whereas the problems or flaws this album has are very nuanced.
Yeah. It's a good con. I'd still recommend this album in a heartbeat. I really enjoyed this. This has been my probably most listened to album of the year so far, even if it's not my favorite. Like it's a very easy in and out. What is it? 10 song, 33 minutes. Like easy to digest. Doesn't overstay its welcome. Is really great at what it does. Like if I got like a 12-track album from this band that explored a little more deeper into certain subjects and topics, easy top 10 contender. Like
did you ever listen to their debut album or no?
I think I did back when it dropped. Let me see.
Because the debut album had a song called Powerless on it, which is it's a slow ballad build song. And I feel like that's kind of what this album is missing. I would have loved to see them do another rendition of Powerless with like a very slow, like minimal guitar, minimal drumming, even really just focused on the clean emotional voice that the guy has here. And then because I feel like that would add a lot of variety to this song. Because other than I Don't Want to Be Here, which has a very unique song structure, I do feel like most of the songs here follow that fairly basic intro, verse, chorus, bridge sort of structure. And I feel like having one more song that kind of throws a loop in that formula could have done this album some favors. But again, like, the flaws with this album are really nuanced. This is a really solid album front to back. And that's something that I really enjoyed. My second favorite album of the month.
I'm very sad. I wanted to enjoy this so bad. I waited to listen to all the singles and was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. It's not for me. It is specifically the Uncleans, and it's a fucking bummer because it's the same thing with Catch Your Breath, where the Uncleans ruin it for me, unfortunately. Mind you, my most played song as of the last week and a half, 2 weeks, is Tragedy. That's my favorite song off this album by far.
Tragedy is
As
really
long as you got something to love.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wish I could love this album as a whole.
Surely there was at least one song on here for Justin. Like, surely there had to at least be one, and I'm glad there is. Any last thoughts here? Are we good to wrap this up?
Nope. I don't think.
Sounds good. All right, well, this begins the fifth cycle of doing these. This is our fifth March recap, and onwards into the rest of the year. April is going to be insane. We might have to do our every once in a while split the episode into two type of thing. But time will tell. There's a lot of albums that we are looking forward to next month. A lot of them, which we talked about, some singles from this month. There were some singles that I didn't add to the playlist this month because they have albums coming out next month. I'm thinking like Idola.
Wow.
Idola dropped a really good song in March that we didn't talk about, and we'll probably talk about it next month. Foxblood with Gallows song dropped this month.
Tannis
comes out.
dropped a new. Tannis dropped a new one. I know we don't talk about them a lot,
Yeah.
but Tannis dropped a new one. Written by Wolves dropped a new one, but yeah.
And then the other one, Set Your Sails, also dropping an album, and their song from March was really good as well. So yeah, lots of songs. Lots of albums next month.
We may have to split. We may have to split.
No,
it won't be May. Then we'll have to split because all the fucking live shows that we have planned in May.
yeah.
June, we may have to
Cannot
split
be
just
in
for live show talk alone.
Yeah. With all that out the way, I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to follow us on social media at Hivemind Radio _ on Instagram and Twitter. Be sure to follow us on TikTok, and we'll beg Justin to update that, maybe. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can catch album clips and these episodes on YouTube, as well as hang out in the live stream chat, because we do these episodes live. If you want to hang out in the chat with us, I'll usually post it to our Instagram story a couple hours before we go live, so you'll know when to hop in the chat and hear us discuss stuff live. Be sure to follow us on Spotify, Hivemind Recap Podcast, and other podcast platforms as well. That's going to do it for our March recap. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed. Be sure to check out all the music that we talked about this month. And we will see you with our April recap. Whether that's in 1 or 2 parts, who knows? But we'll be there to talk about it all.
See ya.
Bye.